What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, and it's been a while since we've done one of these. A nice Q&A for you guys, but welcome to everyone in the chat. We've got 56 people at the moment, 82 people at the moment. So, yeah, I mean, we're just going to COYS and chill it today, I think. Do a few different things. Call in. The link is open to everyone. It's pinned to the top of the live chat. It's also on the community section. It's on Twitter. It's everywhere. So you don't need to be a member or anything to call in. But call in, you guys.
No excuses, basically.
Exactly. There is no excuses for anyone not to call in. So I want to see all the OGs call in today. And it's your chance to guide the conversation as well, whatever you want to talk about Tottenham related, or maybe not even Tottenham related. Just call in, have your say, and we can have a bit of a chat.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I want to know people's opinions. Come in, call in, ask whatever question you want. You can set the discussions, but there's a lot to talk about Tottenham at the moment. Will we get top four? What do we want to happen tonight? Do we want Arsenal? Do some fans out there want Arsenal to win?
Is that a debate?
I don't know. Do some fans?
Is that a debate?
I saw on Twitter some people saying if you don't want Arsenal to win, you're a weirdo tonight. Some people are saying
you don't want Arsenal to win, you're a weirdo. I say if you want Arsenal to win, you're a weirdo.
Because they won Champions League. So, you know, I want to know people's opinions. Should we care more about getting Champions League than we do about Arsenal not winning the league? I want to know people's opinions on all these different things. What is going on at Tottenham? Why do we get battered so badly at Newcastle? Is Ange getting sussed out? All these different things. And will we finish above Villa? I want to know people's opinions.
I see Alex Samuels in the comments, so big up Alex, and he says, hey all, hashtag Mia San Mia. And that is what I'm talking about. He knows what the score is. He wants, obviously, Bayern to win tonight.
Is that what that means?
Yeah, it's a Bayern. It's kind of the Bayern motto or something. So,
Viva la Bayern.
Viva la Bayern tonight. Harry Kane FC, Eric Dyer FC. We're going for it tonight. And, you know, after the first leg, I mean, everyone was. I remember you were saying as soon as the draw happened, you know, Arsenal are definitely going to win this. Mm-hmm. After that first leg, has
I said
changed?
I actually said before the first leg, I reckon there's a good chance Arsenal might draw the first leg at home and win away.
You still think that?
Yeah, I think there's a good chance. Yeah, there's a good chance.
I think at the home of Bayern, you know, I mean, don't they have a mad record at home in Europe? Like
in Europe potentially, yeah. Yeah, I think in Europe. Well, I remember, off the top of my head, the last time I can remember them losing at home was to Real Madrid back in like 2014, on their way to La Decima. I remember they got battered 4-0. But since then, I can't remember Bayern ever losing at home in the knockouts, especially.
Yeah. But big up to everyone in the chat once again. 124 people with us. Like I said, the link to call in is pinned to the live chat, top of the live chat, in the community section on Twitter as well. But it looks like we do have our first caller.
And consider this a bit of Tottenham therapy as well. You want some therapy? You want to talk about anything? Explore any ideas? I thought we were going straight to callers.
Why not? I mean, we'll just
yeah, go for it. Okay,
go here and there. Let's go to Ron.
Hey guys.
How's it going, Ron? You all right?
Thanks for calling in.
I'm fine. How are you guys?
Yeah, all good, my friend. Where are you calling from?
From Israel, actually. So my English is not very good, and I'm hoping for the best.
Well, I hope everyone and you're all safe there.
Yeah, we are. That's fine. I just wanted to ask you a quick question. Recent games I've watched, I've seen Son as a striker, and I thought his ball control was terrible, and I thought he's not suitable to be the one who's creating. And I've seen the team really try and play on him, while he can't hold the ball. Even in the last game against Newcastle when we were battered, I've seen Brian Johnson move to the center, and I thought he was actually better than Son with his dribbling and with his ball control. So I want to hear your opinions.
For me, I think recently, especially away from home, there's been a bit of a problem with Son as number 9. Obviously, I'll point to the Fulham game, West Ham game, and the Newcastle game as clear examples of games he struggles in, I think, in the number 9. And that's clear to see. I think not against Newcastle, actually, he didn't just struggle. Actually, it was a big hindrance to Spurs because he lost the ball twice in the build-up to the first and the third goal. And so his lack of hold-up ability directly led to Tottenham losing goals. So he was actually a bit of a liability in that game. But what I would say is, by and large this season, when he has played up front, I think he's definitely showed he can do that. I think the stats definitely bear that out. He's scored a lot of goals. I think of his 15 goals, I believe 11 of them have come when he's been in the number 9 position, and he's also getting assists. And you'll talk about his hold-up play. That is something that he's actually really improved this season, in my opinion. It's something that beforehand was one of his weaknesses, and I think he's actually taken up his game on that level. In terms of his hold-up play, up a few levels this season. But the reality is, it's never going to be his biggest strength. He's never going to be a back-to-goal kind of striker. That's never going to be... he's never going to be a guy who can... take the ball into feet and hold off a really strong defender and then be able to turn him and stuff like that. What we need, where we need Son, is facing the other way, facing up defenders and running at them and running in behind them. That's where he's at his best. That's where his biggest strength is. So I think in games where he's allowed to do that, we're going to see the best of Son, even in the number 9 position. But games like Newcastle and West Ham and Fulham, who are going to sit deep and not give him space and ask him to play with his back to goal, those are games he is going to struggle at, and that's what we've seen. So I don't think it's a case of he can't play the number 9, but I definitely think, obviously, Richarlison's been injured, hasn't he, recently, so he hasn't really even been an option. So we've had to persist with him, and I think he has struggled in these kind of games for sure.
No, I completely agree. I just wanted to add one more thing. I think Son, 2 things that bother me at least, that he doesn't take the shots anymore like he used to do from outside the box, or when he has the chance, he doesn't shoot on the first leg touch. He always tries to move it to his right foot, I think. And sometimes it hinders us. And in the Newcastle game, I personally think he was responsible for 2 of the goals because he lost the ball and then they just pushed it up the field very, very fast. And when you have players like Gordon and Barnes who are really, really fast, you just concede goals very easily.
Yeah, but I completely agree with you, and I'm looking at the last couple of games, even stretching back to the West Ham game. There's been so many kind of examples of it where Son kind of hesitates to shoot and then he ends up just passing it. It's very frustrating. But in terms of going back to the original question, I do think, again, it's like horses for courses. Depending which kind of teams that you're playing, you want Son up front or Son on the left. Against these low block teams, I'd probably start him on the left. But these games that we've got coming up now, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, these teams that are going to play a high line, these are where Son is going to earn his money. This is where you're going to see the best of Heung-min Son. So I really hope that he starts shooting from outside the box, because we all know he's got one of the best shots from long range in the Premier League, if not Europe. So we should be getting a lot more goals from those kind of avenues.
We haven't had a Sonny banger this season, have we? We're due a Sonny banger, surely, from 25 yards top corner.
And what better place than the North London derby, eh, Ron?
Yeah, we hope so, really.
So what would you... Go on, Ron. Now I was going to ask... Yeah, go on, you go.
No, that's fine. I really want to answer your question.
I was going to ask, going forward then, obviously you've been concerned with him in the number 9. In the games coming up that we have, in your opinion, where would you like to see Son? Would you like us to persist with him in the number 9 or shift over?
I have a bit of a weird take. I think Son should get back to the bench for a bit of games, for some games.
The bench?
Yeah, I think he's really... wait, that's the next question. I think he's really good against tired legs, but lately I've not seen his pace come as much. Maybe it's because we played against low blocks. Yeah, I can agree with that. If Richarlison is fit, I'd like to see him start. Also, I think we have to bring maybe a good striker in the summer, or just maybe let Valise play a bit more, bring him back from loan and let him play a bit more. Because we need physical presence. We lost it when we sold Harry Kane. We lost the chance to cross the balls or for someone to take the ball with his back. So personally, against low blocks, I think Son is very, very inefficient and he only hinders us. So
I think it's a really good point you make about Alejo Valise, actually, because he's gone out to Sevilla, has not seen any sort of game time whatsoever. With Richarlison out injured now, and with our problems against these kind of low block teams, surely he would have got minutes now, and surely he could have provided a different option for us.
Well, it's been a waste of time, hasn't it?
Been a complete waste of time.
He wasn't even in the squad on the weekend.
Yeah.
So it's been an absolute shambles. We could have used him in the last few games.
That's what
for
I'm
sure.
saying.
So it's been a bit of a disaster in being out on loan, that's for sure. But in terms of what you're saying about dropping Son, though, I mean, imagine the uproar if Son is left out the lineup in the North London derby. I can't see that ever happening.
Maybe in the North London derby it really suits the system because they play a high line, as you say. But against low blocks like West Ham, which are come to frustrate you, then you need a player who can play with his back. And I just want to ask maybe last question if you're in a hurry. Would you rather have Alejo Belize start or I forgot his name, Dane Scarlett? Who do you think is ahead? Who is ahead in the pecking order?
That's an interesting question because both of them have been sent out on loan this season. Was Dane Scarlett started off on loan? Where did he go?
Yeah, he went to Ipswich.
Went to Ipswich, didn't really do. I mean, I like both players, I really do, but it's so hard to say who's ahead because we haven't actually seen them in the same squad because Dane Scarlett was away for the first part, Alejo Belize is away for the second part. I would probably say Alejo Belize is slightly ahead, but I think they're probably around the same kind of stature within the squad. I don't know how you think about it.
Yeah, I think obviously Belize has played a bit more senior football, hasn't he, for Boca, and he's scored goals out in Argentina. So I think from that point of view as well, he got a loan move to us immediately, a top level European side. I know he didn't play much, but Scarlett hasn't really got that sort of interest. So, and as well, earlier in the season, I guess Scarlett was out on loan, but Belize was getting a few minutes here and there coming off the bench. Since Scarlett's come back, he's had one cameo. I don't think he's had too much. Although he did play
last home game.
Although he did play one half against Fulham in the Carabao before he went out on loan. But I would say Belize is probably ahead. I think he looks physically ahead to me, Belize.
I like Scarlett against Fulham. I thought he looked good, and I thought he looked okay coming on in the last game as well.
In terms of age, are they similar, or one is older than the other? Are they both?
I think they're both 19, aren't they?
Yeah.
Or is Belize 20 now?
Dane Scarlett. Is Dane Scarlett still a teenager? He's 20 now, Dane Scarlett.
He's 20. So what's Belize is younger, or they're both 20?
Alejo Belize is 20
They're
as well.
both 20, so same age.
Yeah, but then again, Dane Scarlett is English, so he fits the English quota, so that's
true.
A big thing. Yeah, that's a question should be asked. Well,
yeah,
thanks, guys.
Thank you, Ron.
Thanks for calling in, and please call in some more. Is this the first time you've called in?
I will. Yeah. I was very anxious to call, but
you've done amazingly.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Your English is great. Don't worry about it. You've got great English,
Ron.
Guys.
Thank you. Come on,
Have a good one.
Come on, big up.
Big up to Ron. Thanks for Ron for calling in. Couple look at the comments. A lot of people in the comments saying that we need to sign a striker. Benjamin Sesko is a name on a lot of people's lists in the comments.
Sesko, he's...
Sesko is the one off that conveyor belt, isn't he, of the RB. I think he was at Salzburg, now he's at Leipzig, making a name for himself again this season in the German league. I would love to have him in, and I was looking at him when he was at Salzburg as well.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to be attainable with big price tag. I don't know, he's only been there 1 year, hasn't he, at Leipzig?
Yeah.
So whether they could, I guess they could allow him. Their model's always to sell, isn't it, Leipzig, if the price is right. So I wouldn't be surprised if... they're open to selling, but unfortunately, I would say it's going to be a big offer.
Apparently, he has a 50 million release clause.
50?
Yeah.
Seems reasonable to me.
Does seem reasonable. Why not? 50 million. I can hear someone who's about to call in. I think they're on the train. We could just see them walking around on the platform.
What's his name?
Daniel, are you ready to come on?
Mm-hmm. All right, go on.
Bring him on.
Bring him on. Hey, Daniel.
What's happening, mate? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Hello.
Thanks for
Where
calling
are you
in.
off to, mate?
I'm on my way home. I'm actually one stop away from the Tottenham ground.
Okay.
Maybe we can have a little detour.
Yeah, you want to give us a tour?
I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. Well, what do you think about Ange Postecoglou then? You think we should carry on playing these tactics?
I think the manager...
Wait, before we answer that, I wonder, Daniel, what is your... I can hear from the tone of your voice, you've got concerns about Ange Ball. What are your concerns?
You can't keep playing this football, can you? The wing back cannot keep on getting in the way of Maddison. Why do we keep bringing both up? Why can't we just put one up and leave one back?
You're talking about the fullbacks.
You talking about the fullbacks?
Yeah, they keep coming in the centre, but don't you think they're overcrowding the play? Like there's no space for anyone to do anything.
I'm not sure if it's a case of space.
Don't you also think that we've been doing well on the wings? We've been doing well on the wings, so why ain't the wing backs overlapping the wings?
That's just not the way he
plays. We've been doing well
plays.
when we've been putting the ball in first time, haven't we?
Yeah, it's great when Timo Werner and Brennan Johnson. It's great when Timo Werner and Brennan Johnson get it out wide, but I liked the way we were playing with the fullbacks, with the Doggy and Porro contributing to the attacks from the central areas. I just think that we need to get back to a situation where our midfield is more solid. And when our midfield was solid in the first 10 games of the season, we weren't conceding anywhere near as many chances as we were now. And I think the problem comes from the midfield, in my opinion.
But don't you also think, though, that people might not just know how we're going to play that? Is it? No one's played this formation before. First 9 games, no one knew what we were doing. Now it's pretty easy, isn't it? You've got 2 centre-backs just kick the ball long and they just outpace our centre-backs.
Yeah, and
that's what I think, anyway. I think we should maybe just...
I agree with you. There is definitely an issue. I think our defensive setup, especially when we give the ball away, is a bit... I think a high risk is probably a nice way to put it. I think some call it reckless. I think I've heard some call it a bit reckless because it's one ball and over the top. But in terms of the fullbacks, the reason why our wingers have been getting so much joy is actually because the fullbacks are both tucked inside. What it does is it leaves those wingers in one-on-one situations, and it leaves them with the space to take on their defender and obviously get to the byline and whip those balls in as often as it does. That's the whole idea of the system for the fullbacks. The fullbacks will draw attention to give space for the wingers, and that's why we're doing well on the wing. I don't know about it clogging up spaces, but I do think that having both up is definitely a problem defensively, because it means that fullbacks leave so much space in the wide positions, and not only do they leave a lot of space, but they also get very overworked because they've got to do a lot of running if we're giving the ball away too much. I think the goal of this system is to have players in the final third who are a bit better at hanging on to the ball, a bit better at creating chances and taking on people, and not giving the ball away as much as possible. I think the problems come especially in games like Fulham and Newcastle, when we get the ball to the final third, we're just constantly giving it away, and there's the big lack of quality in the final third. And when you give the ball away in poor areas, you leave yourself to be counter-attacked on. I think we're always going to be vulnerable to a counter-attack, to be honest, even at our very best. But I think the goal is, well, yes, we'll be vulnerable to a counter-attack, but hopefully we'll outscore the opposition by much more once hopefully the quality in midfield and the striking and the forward line is improved. I think that's the goal anyway.
But also, when you look at other systems, right, you look at Man City, you look at Liverpool, they're also very vulnerable to the counter-attack, aren't they? That's just the nature of high-pressing teams that play a high line. I think most of these teams are vulnerable to a counter-attack.
But most of the time, though, their defender only drops into the midfield. You don't have both going, do you? I just think he's trying to play the same football he did in Scotland. But this ain't Scotland, is it?
No, it most definitely isn't Scotland, and I feel like there's always going to be teething problems in his first year. And I think the system, I don't know if he's not going to completely change his system, but I think tweaks will be made once we're a much more settled side.
Yeah, I hope so, because I do love Ange ball, but I just think maybe put 3 back and only put 1 in the time. I don't know, we'll have to see how it goes, innit? But we've got some hard games coming up, haven't we? So,
what's your opinion, Daniel, on the old 5th getting Champions League versus Arsenal losing in the Champions League tonight? Who do you want to win tonight?
Nah, I'd rather Bayern Munich win. Forget the Champions League.
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
You can't have honestly. You cannot have Arsenal winning, mate. We will never live it down. It will go on and on and on. You can't. And if they beat Bayern Munich, they might go on to win the thing as well.
I agree with you, mate.
Can't be having that.
Come on,
We
Bayern
can't have
Munich
that.
tonight. Come on, Harry Kane. Come on, Eric Dyer. Daniel, thank you for calling in today, mate.
Have a safe trip home, Daniel.
That was a noisy call, but yeah, definitely come on the Bayern tonight, as Daniel said. But I think it is kind of reservations that a lot of people are having right now about Ange, isn't it?
Yeah, well, especially after the Fulham and Newcastle games, there's obviously, you look at those games. The problem is, I think, the big problem, which I mentioned on the panel show, is that they happen so quickly, one after the other. Like the Fulham game is still fresh in the memory when the Newcastle game happened. So you kind of feel like these players aren't, all the manager hasn't learned the lessons of what happened against Fulham. And then also you could couple into the fact that we have our first choice back five available against Newcastle, and yet we're looking as open as anything, and we're looking as vulnerable as anything. And that's got to be a bit of a concern for sure. But I think once the system gets more ingrained, once we have a bit more time in the forward line, once we increase the quality in the forward line, I should say, I think we're going to be outscoring opponents more regularly. I think that is going to be the goal. And I don't think the goal is to be a team that never gives up a chance. I think the goal is to be a team that creates 10 chances a game and maybe gives up a 2 and you win the game 5-1 or something.
Yeah, and similar stuff was happening in the first 10 games of the season. We were creating loads of chances. We weren't giving away too many chances, and the quality of the chances as well weren't as high quality as they are now. And I think the team has regressed since we had all those injuries and suspensions, and we just haven't been able to get back to those high levels as of yet. But I do firmly believe we will get back to those levels. And you look at, I keep bringing it back to the midfield because I think that's where we've had the biggest drop-off in terms of personnel. You look at Yves Bissouma, you look at James Maddison, even Pape Matar Sarr to a certain extent. I don't think he's playing as well as he was in the first half of the season before the AFCON. Look how much defensive work that Pape used to do, kind of backing up Pedro Porro. I feel like he's not doing that anymore to that kind of level. So all these kind of things and all these players not performing to the same level as they were in the first half of the season is all contributing.
Yeah, and I don't know how we solve that midfield problem at the moment because we've got the players there, they're all fit and available. For one reason or another, it just hasn't seemed to click in the same way. And I wonder if it is because teams are getting wiser to how we're playing and it's making their job more difficult, or is it just because there's a confidence issue and they're not at the same level, or are they still playing through injuries and little niggles? I can't give a full answer to that, but all we know is it's definitely not functioning the same level that it was early in the season, and that's something for Ange to figure out. And I think it's maybe a combination of all of them, but I think a big part of it is I'm definitely seeing, like Newcastle, when we played them in December, they didn't play the same way that they did on Saturday in terms of their formation and their setup. So they clearly had a plan. So maybe it's just a case of teams are getting a bit smarter, and we have to then see teams are getting smarter and then find a solution to that. But to find a solution to that, they have to first get smarter, and that has to work, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And then you find a solution to it.
We have a members chat for 12 months from Andrew Dean. And by the way, there are a lot of questions and comments coming in. Obviously, we will see them better in Super Chats. I'm not forcing you guys to send Super Chats, but it does very much help the channel as well. But we will try and get to questions that are not in Super Chat form as well. But Andrew Dean says, unpopular opinion, Kane leaving is a blessing. All other players stepped up and Ange balls ahead of schedule because of it. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't agree. I think Kane would have thrived in the system. I think he would have been...
and you saw that in pre-season, right?
Yeah, we saw it obviously in the game against Shakhtar. I think whenever you have the best striker in the world and you have him in your team, it's only ever going to benefit you, in my opinion. I don't think it's ever going to be a situation where you're better off without him. Yes, players have stepped up. Son stepped up. Over the season, we've maybe shared the goals around a bit more than we have. But how I see things is, we would have shared we would have shared the goals around more, and we would have had 30 with Kane as well. So I think not having Kane is not a blessing in disguise. I think it's just what it is. It's losing the best striker, and I think we've done our best to fill that gap. And I think we're on track, or we're going to score more goals than we did last season anyway, which is a positive thing considering we had 30 goals from Kane last year. But I don't think it's a blessing in disguise. I think it actually hurt us for sure.
Yeah, of course it's detrimental to us. I think he says that we're ahead of track. We would have been well ahead of track if Harry Kane was here. Can you imagine all these games? How many games this season have you thought, I wish we had Kane here. He would have made such a... Like that West Ham game, for example. You could see we were clearly missing Harry Kane. And in these kind of games, when we're struggling against a low block, against teams that are stifling our attackers, where Son is finding it hard to get into the game, these kind of games are Harry Kane's bread and butter, and he would have 100% provided more of a threat.
Just case in point, those two things, those two moments against Newcastle where Son loses the ball, Kane wouldn't lose the ball there. He would have been able to hold off his defender and maybe create an opportunity, or at least sustain the attack. Son loses the ball and bam, they go and score 8 seconds later. So I think having Kane in our team this season would have taken up our game a few levels, in my opinion. Unfortunately,
and some.
Fortunately, it isn't the case.
But it's time for the blockbuster call. It's Mr. Brian Daigle. Let's get him on and let's see what he has to say. Mr. Brian Daigle, Tottenham on tour. How you doing, my brother?
First of all, guten Tag, Bayern. So,
come on.
Let's just start with that. Yeah, I'm still going through what I'm going through, but have to say, I would rather walk to the Scotland Yard, which is about a 45-minute walk over barefoot with broken glass and rusty nails, than support the filth tonight. So yeah, I don't care. I hope Bayern absolutely demolish and wipe the floor of them. And on that note, you did an unpopular opinion before, so I'm going to bring one that we can discuss. And I've discussed it with you two already. I want Europa League more than I want Champions League.
You would rather Europa League than Champions League?
100 billion%.
Wait, Brian. I had two buttons in front of you. One button you press, we go into Europa League. One button you press, you go into Champions League. You're pressing the Europa League button.
Right, 100 billion%. And I'll give you all my rationale. For it.
Explain yourself, Mr. Brian.
I will do. So, Champions League, what have we actually gained from it, apart from finances that should have gone on players? In the whole time we've been in the Champions League, I would say the only 2 players we have signed in the entire time we've been in the Champions League that were at Champions League level when we signed them was Rafa van der Vaart and Ivan Perisic. The only 2 that have been Champions League quality, elite, ready to go. They can do the job. We've done nothing with it.
Are you forgetting Tanguy and Ndombele?
Oh, my bad. Let's make the only 2 we have signed that you could say were Champions League elect and have played regularly and knew that competition and could improve the team were them 2, and they were both on the way down. They weren't at the peak of their powers. They're on the way down. And Perisic was obviously free, and that's his contract ran out. We got him. That's fair play. But they've been the only 2. We have struggled to get into the Champions League right now, playing 1 game a week. We will then go back to 2 games a week. So this is all with that. But then the other reasons for it is Ange Postecoglou has said he wants to mount a serious title challenge. That's what he has said, and that's what he wants to do. And fair play if that's what he wants to say and wants to do. In the Champions League, I don't see us having the window where we sign 3-4 elite players. We may do quantity over quality again, and some of them may turn good. But I would rather, me personally, use the Europa League. If he's going for the league, which fair play, if that's his dream and that's what he wants to target, and the domestic cups, I would rather, honestly, use the Europa League. And if I was Ange, this is what I would want to do. I would send 5 or 6 first teamers out to the away games in the Europa League, and the rest be your Donnellys, your Santiagos, your Scarletts, your Divines, your Dorringtons, your whatever. Get them to have their minutes with each other, not on loan at Plymouth, Ipswich, Portsmouth, here, there, and everywhere. Have them come up and have their minutes, because you've got to remember, they're the future of Tottenham, hopefully. They're the future, and I want to see what they can do together, not away in different divisions. And then when we play the Premier League, the first teamers that haven't gone afresh, the team are ready to go, and seriously do what Ange wants and try, I'm not saying win the league, but try and mount a serious challenge and make that top four a certainty, as opposed to where we are right now in trying to claw our way into fourth. I would much rather see. I'll give you the example, you two. When we went to Notts Forest in the Carabao Cup, when I arrived back from Toronto, and we went straight up there.
Yeah.
And that was an appalling performance, and we heard we were going to rest players. He pretty much played the first team. If I'd gone all that way up there and saw the youth play, and we'd gone out, I'd be like, you know what, fair play. He played the youth, he tried something different, and it didn't work. I'd rather see some difference. We're all talking right now how Ange naive? Is he too stuck in his ways? He's not giving the youth a chance. What better chance to see what this crop of youngsters coming through have got together than use them in the Europa League?
Brian, does it not, for someone that's so desperate for a trophy like you, like me, like everyone in this fan base, do you think that's a smart way of going about the Europa League then, playing 6 or 7 youth players from the off and leaving a lot of them at home? Will we even get through the group if we did that?
This is the thing. You never know. If we had played Jamie Donnelly rather than a Brian Hill, or tried these things during the league, Jamie Donnelly may have come on and had a blinder. He may not have. But we're all talking about these youth products that are coming through, and now we've created a pathway for them to get in, and we haven't been playing at our best yet, and they're not getting a look in. And if Ange is, and the reason I'm saying this as well, Ben, is it also gives us freshness to go for the domestic cups. I'm not talking just about the Premier League. If we send 7 or, like I said, I'm only giving numbers here, like let's send 6 or 7 first teamers out and the rest youth, whatever. It could be it could be 50-50, whatever, a little bit more with first team. But then you're ready to combat the the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup, which I believe are our main source of breaking this hoodoo. Let's face it, Ben, if we go into the Champions League with the first team, are we going to win the Champions League?
Well, we got to the Champions League final with Winks and Sissoko in the middle.
Yeah, let's the luck that was on our side there, and basically looking at that, look what that did to our league form.
Yeah,
we still got top 4.
Yeah, but we all know how Pochettino's last season was with away form and almost not winning for a year.
Yeah, but maybe it's underrated how well he did, because we finished on 4th with 71 points and we got to a Champions League final, and now everyone's saying, well, you know, it fell off a cliff, and it did, because we had such a great start first half of the season. But to do both, he still was able. Our form in the league fell off so much, but we still got top 4. You know, we still finished inside the top 4, and we got to a final. What I was going to say to you, Brian, is you say, what has Champions League got us? What has Europa League got us before?
Well, this is what I'm saying. I'm not bothered about what it offers us financially. I'm more concerned.
No, but I'm saying, what have we got closer to winning previously?
Europa League or
we haven't got.
League? I personally think this is the only way we're going to see the youth that we've got coming through. You got to remember, people like Donnelly, Santiago, Hall, and all the players you've seen when you've gone to the games. I want to see them play together. I don't want to see the odd one have a loan here and that one have a loan here. If you look at it, we've got Dorrington and Phillips, and then Vuskovic come in the season after next. I'd rather see Dorrington and Phillips have some game time together and see what they can do together, rather than seeing what they're doing apart. If they are going to be the future of Tottenham, if we are trying to do like what Manchester United did, like what Southampton have done loads and loads of times with their youth products, they found a way to get them in. And I can only see if, and like I said, Sim and Ben, this is, and everyone watching, the only reason I'm saying this is if, like Andrew said, he seriously wants to surmount a Premiership title, be in the race and really go for it, then we're not, with the squad we have and the players that may come in, I don't think it's strong enough to be able to play week in, week out. Because in the Champions League, he's going to have to play his strongest team. And if he wants to go for the Premier League, he's going to have to play his strongest team. And we're struggling to play one game a week at the moment.
How many players do you think we need to get to that level where we can realistically, fight on all fronts?
I've said if we were to sign, and I'm sticking with my guns, highly unlikely that it will happen, but I want Paulinho big time as the number 6. That would be absolutely massive for me. If we could sign Eze, that would be massive for me. If we could sign a phenomenal striker, phenomenal, because I think a forward's going. And then you've got to look at we need cover for Destiny and Potter. So I think we need 5 to come in
to be
and
able to fight on all fronts.
Yeah, like that's just back up for Destiny and Porro, a holding midfielder.
So if we
Eze
if we had a window like we had last summer, and just obviously tailored to the positions that we need, would that be enough then? Required? Because did we sign? What, 5? We signed about 5 first-team players in the summer.
Was it?
Van der Ven, Vicario, Madison, Brennan,
Solomon, Valise.
Solomon,
Valise.
4 starters then we signed.
Solomon, Valise, Johnson.
And a doggy came in, didn't he?
Doggy came in from loan.
And Brennan Johnson.
That's what I'm saying. So
6
if we sign 5 starting players this summer in the positions that you're talking about, then surely that's enough then to fight on all fronts.
No, they need to be. They don't. For me now, I've been saying it recently. Right now, what I think we've got is the nucleus of a very, very good team. Like basically exactly what Dele Alli said on Monday, when he said the squad was there, everything was there. It just needed those 1 or 2 players at that level. Just they needed it just that level, and we could have gone places. And I think I honestly believe the nucleus of the squad is really good. But once again, we are just a couple, I'd say 5 big players. But if you look at it, if we were to sign 3, if we signed Eze, let's say Eze, and I'm just calling names here, but someone of the class of Eze, Paulinho, and a prolific goal scorer, I think we're right in that conversation.
But that's what I'm saying, right? The quality of the players that we signed in the summer for the first team, if we sign that same quality for the positions that you're talking about, the Van der Ven, the Madison, Doggy, these kind of players and that kind of quality, then you're saying we'll be there. We'll be able to fight on 2 fronts.
I kind of am, but I'm kind of not, Ben, in a way, because what I'm saying is with Van der Ven, listen, I'll put my hat, I didn't know who the hell he was. Now he's my favourite player. Absolutely love him. I want players to come in that are known, established. Listen, it's all well and good finding those players. We didn't know how good Destiny was going to be.
Vicario.
Exactly. I mean, I made a huge gaff with when I was in the studio with Vicario. I went absolutely nuts with the raid. Absolutely nuts.
Right, so let me get this straight. Apart from Vicario, Van der Ven, and Doggy, they have to be known.
No, but Ben, they don't. Ben, what I'm trying to say to you is those ones. Obviously, they have come. You're not going to get those kind of transfers right every single time. You don't get those type of signings every single time. And when people have always said
the track record we have is pretty good.
Sarr, look at him. No, he's not. He wasn't known. And look how well he's done now.
I get that, but Tim, I'm saying if we did that again, if I said to you, okay, like you said with the Champions League button and the Europa League button, if I said to you, you could have 3 players like that you don't know are going to be a success. Don't know. Not you, they will be, except you don't know. Or I said Paulinho, Eze, and a recognised, established, prolific goal scorer. Which one are you choosing?
Yeah, it's obvious which one. It's obvious which one you're choosing. But I think with the track record of our scouting team and the players that we have brought in since Paratici has joined the club, I would trust them. I really would.
There you go. Well, again, we'll have to wait and see. But moving on from that, there is something I said I wanted to talk to you about.
Go on.
And I want to talk to you about, I cannot wait for the day, and I will celebrate this day like we've won a trophy, when 2033 comes along and we have finally left Nike. I will celebrate.
Wait, Brian, I've got 2 buns for you. We rip up the Nike contract, or Daniel Levy resigns as chairman. Which one are you?
Daniel Levy fucks off. Mate, that's not even a debate. Now listen, I agree with Ben. The thing that's getting me with Nike is I agree. Some of the away kits have been really nice. Some of the away kits have been really, really nice.
Some of them have not just been really nice. They've been all-timers. Some of the best kits we've ever had.
The home kit is basically, let's just change the piping on the sleeves for the last 3-4 years. Have Nike not heard of a V-neck or a collar?
Well, you say the home kit had all these designs on it this year 4 years ago they had a bit of design on it as well.
It is the most boringest, plainest, repeat. Literally, they must say, okay, it's time to work on the Spurs. Let's just change the piping from green to yellow or white stripes. Let's change the kit, the shorts from blue to white, and we're done.
So what do you want them to do with a white shirt?
Look, mate, don't look at, mate, come on. Look at Under Armour, look at Puma, look at Adidas. Every single season with that white shirt, whether the collar changed, whether the design changed, there was always something different. No two kits, no two home kits, Adidas, Umbro, Kappa, Pony, go through them. None of them were exactly the same shirt, but with just some piping.
Yeah. No, I get that. I do get that, but I think apart from maybe a couple of home shirts and maybe the similarities of the home shirts, apart from that, I think they've done a really good job.
So you're not coming to my party then, Ben?
Apart from that bloody grey or whatever colour kit it is this year, that is terrible. Like, who the hell signed off on that one?
Mate, it's not. I now call it the plaster. It looks like a Band-Aid. And let's face it, after we've worn that kit, we normally need to be patched up, so it's quite ironic. I can't stand that kit. But yeah, I will party the day we leave Nike. I want to go back to Under Armour. I love
Under Armour.
I loved Under Armour, but that may have something to do with my slight obsession with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as well. But that's a different story. But yeah, I loved Under Armour and I loved Puma. Loved them. I thought every single kit they did home was sensational. And my favourite Spurs home kit of all time, both were from Puma. The 125-year one where we had half blue, half white. Mm-hmm. And then the Gareth Bale Champions League one with the little like kind of sash going across the shoulders.
Yeah.
They were both incredible. I loved Puma. Loved them.
I think it also comes down to like, if your team is if you remember that team in a good light, you'll like the kit. And I remember like when that green Champions League kit first came out, I hated it. And I looked at it, I was saying, what the hell is this kit? And then as soon as we started playing it and then these big moments started to happen, I fell in love with that kit. So do you reckon there's a sense of that as well?
I think you got to remember as well, when you and me did the Tottenham update, when they did that tie-dye one, that looked like the London bus strike, I'm there slating it, sitting there wearing a tie-dye T-shirt, which I forgot what I was doing. I was like, I'm absolutely hammering it.
Who the hell would wear tie-dye?
I was like, what the hell have I just done? That one, I will say, the away kits grow. The away kits are growers. They seem to, they do. I don't mind the away kits. It's just the home kits. Every year, you used to look forward to seeing what kind of different. Would it be a V-neck? Would it be a collar? Would it have a different piping? Would it have something different? And I just feel with the Nike home shirts, the last 3 or 4 years, it has been the most boring, repeated crap.
Well, you got to look at next year's one. It's got some new stripes on the
exactly.
sleeves and on the shorts.
What was it? Lime green last year. It's plain blue this year. We've added some white piping around the sleeve and the collar. Well done, Nike. Well done. Those guys. I think Daniel Levy must hand out bonuses or Nike do like that, because these kits are just ridiculous.
Yeah, apparently on the third kit next season, the Nike tick is going to be upside down.
I know, it's amazing. It's incredible, isn't it? What innovation, what modern technology to literally just crop, to just rotate. See, I don't mind those two kits. I don't mind it. It's just the bloody home kit.
What about the retro badge? It seems they're bringing back the badge of the old kind of style. One. Yeah. You can see
this is the thing. When I started
pre-Daniel Levy badge.
Mate, exactly. When I started watching Tottenham and with Gaza and in the late 80s, early 90s, that was the badge. That's the badge that sends me straight back to when I first became supporting Tottenham and everything. I love that badge. I absolutely love it.
Mid-table mediocrity badge.
Oh, don't get me. What with Paul Gascoigne? It weren't mid-table mediocrity,
mate. It was a bit after that.
Exactly, mate. And we can also mid-table mediocrity, but at least we did well in the cups.
Brian, one more question I want to ask you. You said you'd press that Europa League button before if we were given the choice. So final day of the season, we're in fourth. We're playing away in Sheffield United. Are you cheering on Sheffield United then?
Of course I'm not. I said I would rather.
Why? But if you're pressing the Europa League button, that's the same thing.
I think I'm saying for the club, I think we get more growth from going into Europa League. And you got to remember, this is just what I would do. This isn't what Tottenham are going to do. Ange Postecoglou ain't sitting here watching this going, good point, Brian. Do you know what? I want Europa League. I'm going to play the youth. He's not doing that. I'm saying, I think if I look at the Champions League next season and I look at the Europa League, if we look at Champions League, what are we going to get out of it? We get to hear some wonderful music. The champions. We get to listen to that for God knows how long.
Do you not watch the knockouts this week and think, Andrew, I need Tottenham to be on this stage? This is
No,
what I
mate,
want
because
to
we'll
see
get
Tottenham.
absolutely fucking annihilated.
Well, look,
You say that.
Dortmund are in the
Yes.
semi-finals.
We'll get, mate. They have got elite players. Listen. I would love to see Spurs doing that.
How many of their
Mate,
players get into our team? I don't know.
Mate, listen. I'm saying to you, I
They've
think
got a
this
loanee
football-
from Chelsea who can't even get
I
into their
think
team,
this
and they're
foot-
10th.
Sancho was in
I
the
think-
reserves at United.
I think this football club, if you look at what we get out of the Champions League, it'll be more money that won't go on Champions League elite players. As I said at the beginning of this, the only two we've actually signed that you could say that are Perisic and Van der Vaart. We'll gain a lot of money, which again won't go back into the transfer kitty. It'll go into a hotel, a cinema, whatever it will do. But if we go into Europa League, I would hope that we would use this to rest a lot of the first team, use the youth to understand what they've got, and challenge. That's what I am saying.
So Brian, you've got two buttons in front of you. One, we beat Sheffield
Well,
United.
a lot of buttons in front of you, Brian.
I'm trying to see how extreme you're going to go to get in Europa League. So you got two buttons here. One, we beat Sheffield United. That means we make Champions League. And one, we lose and go into Europa League. What one are you pressing?
Mate, you don't listen. I'm telling
Which
you,
one are you pressing?
Mate, if it comes to that and we get Champions League, we get Champions League.
So
I'm saying
you're pressing the beat Sheffield United button.
I think we learn. You're mixing. I think we learn more going into the Europa, because if we go into the Champions League, we're not going to win it. I don't believe if we had someone like the Liverpool chairman that said, right, we've got 200 million here, you go spend it on two players, I'd want the Champions League. Because I think we'd take it seriously if we had a chairman that would do that would let the manager sign players of that level. But I don't. So I would like to see what this youth team have got, because I think if we don't use this youth team and this crop of youngsters coming through, we'll end up like normal, where they'll get down to the end of their contract, they'll go elsewhere, and we'll never know what we had.
I just find it interesting. You'd press the button for Europa League and Champions League. You'd press Europa League straight away. But if I say you have to lose to Sheffield United, you're not going to press the button.
Mate,
Brian, I do understand where you're coming from.
Thank you, Ben, can you be my translator for Simeon? Because Simeon's got both
I'm just trying to...
Brian, I do understand where you're coming from, and I also see a lot of value being in the Europa League next season. I really do. But if you ask me which one I'd prefer to play in and which I'd prefer to see Tottenham in next season, it will be the Champions League, because that's the elite competition, and that's where everyone wants to see Spurs playing in next season. When you're looking at these ties over the last night and tonight and last week and stuff, you can't help but think, I just wish Spurs were playing on these kind of nights. But having said that, I do, like I said, see the value in being in the Europa League next season, which makes me think I'm not really bothered where Spurs finish into next season. And I'm not really bothered which competition we are playing in next season. I just hope we give a good go at either one.
Well, that's it, mate. Listen, let's just hope. Let's reconvene after the next 3 games.
Yeah,
let's do it.
There's values in both. There's values in both.
Let's see where we are after the next 3 games, because if we can't perform in these next 3 games and don't get the points we deserve, we don't even deserve to be in the Champions League anyway. So we'll pick this up another time.
Yeah, I mean, if we can't finish above Aston Villa, do we really deserve to be in the Champions League? That's the honest truth.
Exactly.
Brian, always a pleasure, my friend.
Always
Thanks
a pleasure. Have a great day, everyone, and come on, Bayern Munich. Come on, Bayern.
Come on, the Munich.
Bayern.
Love that. Brian Daigle, as passionate as always.
Tip Top Tottenham says, I'd call in, lads, but I'm on a plane right now.
Can't call in from the plane? Get off that plane and call into the show. What do you think this is?
Who cares if it takes the plane down? Let's go. Come on. Call in.
We got another channel OG, Mr. Brains McLeod. He looks like he's on his 1950s internet, but we'll bring him on.
What?
What? How dare you?
I don't know what's going.
I'm rolling on Windows 95 over here.
That's what I said.
Sam, answer me this.
Go on.
I've got 2 buttons. One blows you up if you say I've got 2 buttons one more time. And the other just strips you naked and has you belly flopping around the studio like that one time you did it already. What do you choose?
One.
Number 2, mate. 100%. Means we scored a goal.
Every time you said I've got 2 buttons. He was like, I'm gonna kill this guy. What the? Yeah. It's all
Wait,
good.
before
You've
you
got
get into your topic, Gav, maybe could you try just reconnecting because you're very robotic at the moment. You know, I want it to be. Is it not? Maybe you could just do audio then. Maybe that's best course of action. It's very distracting because it's very choppy.
Yeah, you guys don't need to see my face. I can just do audio.
Yeah, does that work for you?
Go on then, brains.
Hey, that's preferable. That is preferable.
All right, just do no. You can just bring. Do you have to have? You don't have to have the black screen on, do you? You just have us.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So brains, go ahead, man.
So I kind of want to start with the strategy thing, and because it leads into like the whole thing that's eventually, let's just get out of the way. Like the whole thing that's eventually going to happen is, and the countdown to Ange out, right? Like, and
you're already counting down to Ange out.
Ben, no joke. It'll be 6, 7, 8 months. Like even if it's next season, it's coming. And the reason it's coming is because people don't really understand. Like, and I didn't understand until I saw Ben Davies talking about, and you were saying the big problem right now is the midfield problem. Well, Ben Davies said it. He's like, so everyone except for the wingers and the centre backs don't have conventional roles. So they have start positions, but they don't have conventional roles. But we're all going, we need a monster 6. We need a monster 6. He's like, but Ange is going, not in my system. My system is Maddison can come back and be the 6. Then he goes and picks up the ball at left back. Then he goes over to right mid. So Maddison is an all-round midfielder. Sarr, he's an all-round midfielder. He's got to do the 10 as well. He's also got to do the 6. Then Basuma has got to do all of it as well. So, but that's the way Ange wants to play. But yet, what everyone is still talking about a monster 6. Butler will go on about, Cal McGregor. But every time I watched Cal McGregor for Celtic, he wasn't just hanging out like Basuma at the back. He was on the front foot, winning it in the left side 8. Then he was starting things. Do you know what I mean? So he was never really playing how Basuma has played, more similar to Basuma in the first 10 games. So I think we've seen a little burst of, and it was very visual in the pre-season. We saw this kind of front foot, and it was like, wow, this looks incredible. Because teams obviously pre-season sitting off, there's loads of space, a doggy comes flying through the pitch, and you're going, whoa, what's his role? He's a fullback? Why is he cutting why is it cutting diagonally across the pitch then? Why is he going to the opposite side number 10 role? Like he was doing that a lot. Do you know what I mean? So we're looking at it going, oh, it's front foot football, it's Ange ball, but no one actually knows what Ange ball is yet, because no one is even looking at Ben Davies' words, going, the entire system is out. So what I'm saying to you is, these footballers who have all grown up in academies, they've all been trained what their starting position is and how far they move from left to right. They all know that that's what a professional footballer's job is. Ange comes in, now I respect this, I'm not dissing this. Ange comes in and goes, that's not what we're doing here. I want everyone to have fluidity. I want everyone to get on the ball. I want everyone to play and advance the game. Now, that's great. But then if Basuma loses the ball and it leads to a goal, it's going to crush his confidence. If Porro does it, it crushes their confidence. That's just not the reality of expecting players to do that all the time, unless they are at the ceiling of their confidence. Now, how do you get them at the ceiling of their confidence? You have to commit to the strategy forever. So Ange is stuck in a rock and a hard place here. He's going, we are going to go front foot. You are going to play this way. I don't care if we lose games. So we go, we get hammered 4-0. Maddison after the game goes, we didn't listen to the gaffer. He said, go forward, go forward. He was screaming, go forward. We went back because we're scared. Because a team with nothing to lose comes and goes, bang, hit the press high. So then they go, God, we've got players all over us. How, you know, and so that a real footballer who's been trained in the fire from like academies, is not going to just take a manager's word saying, I don't care. I'm not going to fire you. I'm not going to kick you out the team. I want you to go. But then 60,000 people, traveling fans, are going, what are they doing? What are they doing? Do you know what I mean? So it's Ange doesn't care what all the fans are saying. He can't care. His job is to make the system ingrained. Now the problem is, Basuma looks like he was the guy. Then he has some trouble. Now he's not the guy. But Maddison hasn't been able to sustain form. Is he not the guy? Sarr, he's not been able to sustain. So they're not the guys then. So now all the fans go, we need new midfielders. We need a monster six. And then the pressure starts to cave in. When Ange is going, no, they're just not confident because they haven't done it for a sustainable amount of time. So now it's going to get to the end of the season. And he's going to go, well, Skippy's out. I mean, we've seen his ceiling. He's gone. He can't play this style. And we know certain players can't play this style. They're gone. Easy decisions. And that's the great thing about Ange's system, is that it will weed out the weak. It will. And that's the old school. The weak get murdered. And so it will get them out. But then, next season, Ange might go, okay, 5 players come in. Now, they've all come from academies. They've all come from the training of, look, when you go up against a better team, classic example, Roy Keane. Roy Keane saying Man United's success, right? They knew that they would go up against Bayern, a better team. They know they would go up against Barca, a better team. And you sit back and you suck up the pressure and you catch them on the counter. You do whatever it takes to win. Man United, in that period of time, would do whatever it took to win. And they had warriors all over the park who could play multiple styles. But that took years for them, class of 92, took years for them, young, with a few older players, to get to the ability to be able to do multiple styles. Ange is coming in, he's got a couple of players, he's got to build them into playing a system. But it's not possible to do it in one season. He's also trying to reinvent the wheel because he's trying to compete with the greatest managers. He's also, like the thing with he also doesn't want to talk strategy to players. Where does that come from? He's been playing in Asia. He can't talk strategy to the players all the time on the pitch because it will go through 16 different translators. So he's developed a style where he doesn't need to talk. He just does it on the pitch. And then before the game, he says it. They all talk translation through to their players and then they go and do it. So he's grown used to not talking, not having boardrooms, because it would just be a nightmare talking through 20 different translators. So he's never needed it. He's got success not needing it to have strategy meetings every single day. But the strategy meetings would help players and their confidence because they would start to understand the system better. So there is pluses and negatives. I can see Conte was all strategy meeting, Mourinho all strategy meeting, Poch all strategy meeting all day long, every day, splitting the strategy meetings between 2 training sessions. Ange isn't going to do that. Now these boys can go play video games. After training, go enjoy your time playing. So obviously they love this. It's more on the ball. It's more fun. It's more fun in training. But does it make them, do we have the right players? Is he trying to reinvent the wheel? Is it a bit too much, too ambitious? How long is that going to take? I think that's going to take a long time, 3-4 seasons now. I thought at first when Ange came in, I was like, wow, 10 games. Look at us. Look how we're playing. That's the possibility. But this is going to take 3 or 4 seasons. If he's going to play this, reinventing the roles, and every player coming in is going to have to learn that, rewire their professional brains of what they've been told to sit in, fight deep. He's going to change all that.
Will he get 3 or 4 seasons?
It might be amazing to watch Spurs burning everyone, putting everyone to the fire. But he won't get that time is what I'm saying, Ben. Like I'm saying 2 seasons, and if it doesn't work, Our fan base, he's gone. The Ange out's going to come for him, and he's going to be gone because Levy's going to go, God, they're going to come for me. Win now. And they're going to get rid of him. So that's my whole problem.
I think as long as he's getting top 4, his job is safe.
He might not even get top 4 this year.
No, okay, first year maybe not, but I'm saying from next season, as long as he's getting inside the top 4, I don't think Levy would consider
That's been the natural, situation with any manager at Tottenham. If you're in the top 4, you're fine.
Yeah.
But look, that's a lot to digest. You were going on about 20 minutes there about...
Yeah, I know. But if you think about it, like if you watch all of the Spurs content channels, and I get that that is a part of the game, like it's something to talk about, like who are we going to sign in the 6? We need a monster 6, and it's like, listen to what Ben Davies said. It's new roles for every single midfielder. There isn't a 6. They start off because you have to put a formation, a screen for Sky, but they're playing different roles. It's like, so I think if people could understand that, like they would understand that these players are having to learn a whole new style. And it looks like some of them are loving it. I think Destiny Udogie loves it. Like he is getting to run all over the field, having a ball. I think he loves it. I don't think Porro does. Because I think
Do you not think
Porro's
so?
a wingback.
I think Porro's
a wingback.
Do you not think he's adapting well to the system? Because I think he's been really good this season.
I think defensively, we have a lot of problems. I think
we do.
defensively, like, it's not just Romero's fault. It's not just VDV's fault. It's not just Porro's, but it's a knock-on effect. Like, if Porro goes far too far up, and then it's like 2v2, and then you're relying on Romero just to hold his head, don't dive in, and then he dives in, now it's 2v1, and then VDV's going to get the blame like at Newcastle. It's like, so people are seeing the end product. Oh, VDV slipped. He slipped because he was trying to put the burners on and stop. So you know what I mean? Like, Isak just played him really well. That's a very good move from Isak. It's not really VDV's fault, that situation. And the second one wasn't his fault either, because Porro passed the ball back.
Exactly.
So it's like, but then look at people burning VDV on one game. He made, you could say it's mistakes. Did you see how many slips there were at the weekend?
Yeah.
Like, there were so many slips. It's like, so obviously there's an overwatering of pitch happening. Studs are just going right through the pitch. Some really bad slips, by the way, slips that led to goal creating chances. VDV just got unlucky that his were 2 goals. But then look at that. Look at already the kind of like the shit that spawns out of it. Like, oh, is VDV as good as we thought? Like, oh God, it's like, wait, it wasn't his fault. Like, you know what I mean? So like the mass hysteria. But I think if you're looking at when Udogie goes up, sometimes he doesn't come back. Like, and when
he struggles to get. But I think that's a problem with the fullbacks, isn't it? Because they invert and they sometimes even get into the number 10 position, which means if we're ever caught in a transition, bam, they've got so much ground to cover to get back in position, don't they?
And how many times have you seen, like, we all love it. Like, VDV makes a Usain Bolt run and clears up, but we shouldn't be relying on that. We are relying on the speed and the attributes of one player at times.
Yeah.
Do you know how many times we would have been a goal down if it wasn't for one player? That is insane.
But it is his first season, Brains. It is his first season, right? So you got to, take things with a bit of a pinch of salt. That this team will grow. New players will come into the system as well. You spoke about the first 10 games as well. It's like after those 10 games, we all thought Ange Ball has arrived. We're going to be playing like this all season. What has changed?
Ben,
what has changed?
I remember at the time when it was happening that Spurs were putting every team to the sword. And it was like, it was frightening. Our like speed of attack was frightening. How we can go from one side of the pitch to the other. But then that's professional football at the highest level. Every other team who watches it, they go, right, we're not letting them do that again next time. Like, Spurs are incredible right now. Like, right, everyone sit back. Then everyone plays as like they play City. And now all of a sudden Ange ball just looks like Pep ball. Because they just sit back, we get into a basketball deformation around the box, and there's too much space. That's what Daniel was saying about players getting in the way. Of course they are, because there's not enough space. Then you have your inverted fullbacks getting into like other people's positions instead of playing deeper. Like, so if you were adapting it, you would go, right, play in your own half. Don't go across the halfway line until they've engaged. And then, so then people would go, oh, it's boring football though. It's like, no, you play in your own half, pass around, suck them in. Then as soon as they're in your half, you counter. So even if there was a little adaptation, it would, but then I'm not saying Ange doesn't think like that. I mean, of course he does. He doesn't want, he's so scared with this group of players that he doesn't want them to go abort the front foot thing, abort it, you know, because I can see Ange going, look, yeah, we'll lose to low block teams. They'll catch us on the counter. We know that. Who cares? We'll lose games. It's fine. We'll win more and we'll get 4th or 5th. That's a good start. Now we can address that we have one rash defender at centre back. Now we can we're lopsided in our attack from our inverted fullbacks. Our midfielders are not consistently confident enough to get the role, and we don't have finishers in the front line. It's a problem on every area of the pitch, but still we're in 5th, and still actually it's been a lot of good football. So you can't really blame Ange for coming in. How many managers have come in and just done a version of each other? Mourinho, Conte, kind of like slightly pragmatic versions of each other. He's come in, kicked out a whole bunch of players and gone, I'm starting something new. I'm going to reinvent the wheel of how I want my midfielders to play. Do you know what I mean? And it's going to be attractive football. If that only perennially means top 4 for Spurs, he'd still have done an amazing job. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, but if you then go and give him, like, no one's giving him world-class players. No one's going, here's a Frankie de Jong. Here's players that if I said to them, because you're world-class, you've won trophies and their confidence is high, you're the best player in the world, go and dominate the midfield. Then, of course, he could go, right, now we'll come up with other strategies. But in the meantime, he's got Bissouma, who could have been one of the best midfielders. He looked like he had the talent at Brighton. Didn't happen under Conte. And now he's had a bit of burst, but he's showing that he's actually vulnerable in terms of confidence. So I could see Ange going, there's only so long I could back that. I need confidence. Maddison himself, coming back from that injury, is kind of struggling to get on the ball and do anything like what he did. He the first 10 games he played with pure attacking flair. It's gone. And how, so you're seeing who we're looking at in the market. We're looking at 10 still. And people are going, no, but Maddison, no, you're not going to replace Maddison. It's like, why? Why not get a better 10? Why not get a better Bissouma? Why not get a better Sarr? Why do we have to think, oh, as long as we get rid of Skip? No, why are we scared to get rid of anyone? Why not get rid of Romero? If he won't play his role and just be strong and stand his ground, and he keeps making like, I'm going to kill this guy. Why not get rid of him then? Why not have him as the backup?
Because where does it stop? You could go for the whole team and do that.
It stops when the manager. It stops when the manager has players who he can trust, who he can do the roles, who he thinks are confident enough to just believe in his system. As soon as he's got those players, but then you might never get those players. So, and that's the hard.
If I'm playing devil's advocate to that, if I'm in charge of, let's say, if I've got 2 buttons here, bro. No, I'm joking. If I'm on the board, I'm like, you can't.
Where's the button to blow him up?
If you can't deal with Romero, Maddison, and these kind of players, Sarr, and maybe not Sarr, but especially Romero and Maddison, and you can't create a functioning team with those players, you're saying we need better than those players, then the problem might not be the players, if you know what I mean.
Yes, no, that's a good point. Yeah, and I agree with that completely. All of those players, by the way, I was just giving an example. I don't want any of those players gone. I'm just saying, like, at their ceilings, they are incredible players. We've seen it. We've seen them this season play at their ceilings. But then, so this is also a case of squad building. It's like, how many people do you know can be confident all year round? Like, shit happens. An injury happens. Someone loses a family member. They go through shit. You know, it's not easy. But then this is why he needs a squad where, say, he's got a good Munson who's, I want to be better than Maddison. Bring him in. Drop him. Let's see Bergvall. He wants to be that guy. And if we're going to build a midfield of players like Bergvall, who's strong, could be a monster 6, who's actually quite a 10, who looks like he's an 8. That for me is then all right. If we're going to build a midfield like that, then that's gonna work. And I kind of see Bentancur a bit like that, someone who can do all the roles. You know, you probably want him in attack, you probably want him in the 8, but he could do the 6. You know what I mean? So it's just a case of like he's got uncertainties through that. You know, he's got players who've come back from long injuries, players who are like rash, and I think I think if you get rid of the rashness and you show people the love in the back end, I think that's what he's doing with Bissouma. He's just showing him love. He's just going, look, I'm backing you as much as I can here, but if you don't turn this around, it's gonzo, you know? Like you can't have players who are like, oh, I could be good. I could be good if I was always playing at my ceiling. It's like, right, well then, at the moment he doesn't have the squad to go, right, well then catch you later, go learn how to play at your ceiling. Here I'm going to bring another guy in who's a sword, who's going to sharpen your ceiling, because he's going to go for it. And if you aren't going to go for it, I think Bissouma knows, I've got the 6. I've got this locked down. And he doesn't have to play that great, because no one's sharpening his sword. You know what I mean? Bentancur doesn't really look like he wants the 6. And again, it's like even I'm doing it. We got to stop talking about it like the 6. It's just a starting position. You know, you see them when they play. Like when you see Højbjerg and Bentancur when they came on and played, they played both as 8s, but Højbjerg fell and then he fell like he's kind of double pivot. So we don't really know what the actual strategy is, and I guess the players don't either. But he's just trying to make it fluid so that you believe in yourself, so you can just go for it. You know what I mean? And we've seen that a little bit of adversity, and they crumble. It's not Spursy. It's just the arc of learning under a new manager to believe in yourself. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting who he brings in. But also, we could still have a great first team here if they all just believed in themselves to go for it. Like I was saying, if all the fans right now went into the stadium, this is where like fans are the problem is a silly phrase, but in a way we are, because we believe mentally that we're Spursy, and that's the disease. We need to get rid of that. We need to get rid of the ideas of we've got to win a trophy. Like, you're not owed anything. It doesn't matter about your history. You're not owed anything in life. It's like turning up and getting a participation trophy. You're not owed anything. We've got to go, every fan's got to go into that stadium and going, I want to watch great football. Even if we lose 6-0, I want to see these guys flying forward. Let's just try win. Let's just try burn every player. And we might lose 6 goals. Do you know what I mean? We might get hammered. Then we've got to leave the stadium going, yeah, but this is what it is. Soon enough, these guys will stop fearing losing goals, because we've got a phenomenal goalkeeper. Believe in him. We've got good centre-backs. Believe in them. The midfield have got to go, get me on the ball. I want to make a difference here. And when you look at that midfield, they're not doing that. They're all capable of it. Madison can change a game. Bentancur can change a game. So can Bissouma. They're not doing that because they're scared. And so that's what we got to change. I've had 2 buttons.
I agree. We definitely need more bravery, and I think that is definitely what Maddison said after the Newcastle game, and it's definitely something that has hindered us in recent weeks in terms of when we play these teams who sit in a low block and crowd the penalty area and don't give Tottenham any space. I feel like we're just constantly passing it sideways and to the wing and then back inside, and not playing it brave enough into those dangerous positions, and that's definitely hurting us. But I don't know what the question is.
I don't think it was a question. That was just a TED talk, as someone said in the comments. But
the question is, are Spurs fans gonna drop the pressure, the Spursy tag that we give ourselves, the bottlers and all that stuff? Are we going to, Tottenham Hotspur, are we going to drop all that nonsense and actually just watch our team get better? They're imperfect right now. He's trying to sculpt a great philosophy of a football team. Do we want to give him time and watch good football, or do we want to bitch and moan about every time it goes wrong? Because that's what we're doing.
I think we have to be on that side. We have to be on that side of the fence where we're giving him more time. We're assessing the project. We always have to call it out what it is, right? You've got to criticize when you see things that need to be criticized. But I think you've got to realize where you're at as a football club as well. Yeah. First season under Ange Postecoglou, we lost Harry Kane. All these injuries, a completely new first 11 pretty much. So you've got to trust the process. As much as I hate that saying because of what it was used with Arsenal and stuff like that. But you've got to look at Arsenal as the kind of they finished 8th 2 years in a row, then 5th, and they still backed Arteta, and they still look where they are now, 2 title challenges in a row. So you've got to trust the process, you've got to trust Ange Postecoglou, and you've got to keep growing as a team, and the fans need to be behind it.
The problem is when we're paying one of the highest season ticket prices in the Premier League, and then also we've gone from how long is it? 16 years now without a trophy. Since
2008,
2008. So it's 16 years without a trophy. There's always going to be a section of the fan base until that changes that's going to be frustrated, and every time it goes wrong they want it now, and they're going to be impatient. The reality is there is a section of the fan base that has lost patience with the board. Patience is waiting for Tottenham to win something. They have lost patience, and when every time it goes wrong, it's like, you're asking them to be more patient because it's gone wrong. Okay, you just need to wait until we can figure that out. But they've lost their patience already. They don't want to wait for it to go wrong. If it goes wrong, bam, change it now. This guy's useless. These players can't do it, blah, blah. We need it all change, because then they've lost their patience now. So I don't know how you get that patience back from them.
You need to, but these exact guys need to realize, like I said, they need to realize where we're at. We've been in the wilderness for so long, for 5 or 6 years. We've not been relevant and fighting up there, since the peak Pochettino teams where we finished 2nd and 3rd, getting to Champions League finals. Since that moment in time, which was 2019, we've been in the complete wilderness for 5 years now. So we didn't know what we were. We'd completely lost our way with Conte, Mourinho, Nuno, this one, that one, dross players coming in like Matt Doherty and all these kind of players. We need to realise how wrong the club have got it over the last 5 years, and how they're trying to rectify it now. Bringing in Ange Postecoglou, bring in a whole heap of young players that can suit the system. I think the club are going in the right direction. So people need to realise that and give it time.
Yeah, but that's the hard thing. That's the question. Is like, will fans give a manager who's coming in to this unrealistic expectation of you must come in and win now, when how's that gone for us? you know what I mean? Bring Conte,
absolutely,
can't win. Bring Mourinho in, can't win. They can't win. They could have won if they were given the right time and the right support from the board, but they
and weren't sacked 3 days before a cup final.
Exactly. They can't win when there's this kind of, we're scared, and that we need a trophy, and like. Sometimes, we get frustrated. I've been frustrated with Ange this season. But then when he's sitting there and he's saying, I don't care about Champions League. It's not that he doesn't want Champions League. Obviously, that brings 100 million to the club. He's just saying that it won't solve anything right now. It will not solve anything right now. I'm trying to make 11 players play at the height. And then next season, I want 22 of them to play at the height of their confidence. That's a little bit different. I don't know if you saw James Lawrence Alcott did a video about the differences between Pep, Klopp, and Arteta on the run-in. He was saying Pep around this time is supremely confident, and all of his players are supremely confident that they are just going to win the rest of their games because they've done it over and over and over and over and over. So their confidence is like, we'll just do what we did last season. We'll just do what we did the season before. Confidence begets confidence, right? There's no fear. It's been weaned out of them with the process. Like you're saying, Ben, trust the process. They didn't get stopped halfway in when their confidence was halfway. No, they got pushed through. I remember when they were behind us in 4th and they're chasing us. Do you know what I mean? So then you've got Klopp. Their whole team is built on the hope and let's play. And then it's so much harder for Liverpool to stay on because they've got Stevie G slipping on the pitch. They've got bottled it before. Arsenal now, 2 seasons in a row could be bottling it. That pressure is huge. And that's what Pep wants. He wants those two and their trauma of their past bottling it. Then you look at us at 4th going, well, we have 60,000 people in a stadium every week going, We're never gonna win. Spursy. Do you know what I mean? And so what I'm saying is that we have to eradicate this. We've got to get the monkey off our backs. Just drop it in the ocean. Let it sink to the bottom. We've got to give a guy who's trying to bring a whole new thing in, which I think is cool, and I want it to work. It's old school. I love it. All with the ball. I love that. That's cool. I say it's old school and people go, oh, don't diss him like that. I'm old school. I love that. Like, I want to see it work, you know? We've got to give him the time, and it's going to be hard. We might get humped. We might fall lower next season. Still got to give him time. Got to believe in it. It's the only way to go.
100%. I 100% agree with that, Brains. But, yeah, thanks for coming on, mate, and really good points made.
Ben, I've got 2 buttons for you.
Blow him up. Blow him up.
All right, nice one, lads. I'll see you guys in a bit.
Cheers,
Nice one,
Brains.
Gav. Nice to see you, mate. Well, nice to listen to, I should say.
Yeah, some really good points there made by Brains. Love it, Amber. I mean, it's 100% spot on, though. We have to give this manager time. We have to trust this process. And whether even we think we see things right now that are not good and that needs to be worked on, he needs time. He needs more than a year. He needs maybe even more than 2 years.
He needs time to work on it. That's the reality. The only bit concerning thing is Ange himself doesn't usually stay at clubs for longer than 2 years.
Because he usually gets the job done in less than that
He
time.
usually gets second season. He usually wins it all, doesn't
Yeah.
he? That's usually how it works.
I don't
and he
like
moves
to
on.
bring that up because that's what we said about Jose Mourinho.
That is
as
also
well.
second season Jose does as well. So, yeah, let's hope that he. Let's hope he gets that time and the fans are patient with him. But I completely agree with what Gav is saying there.
All right, let's go to our next caller, Mr. Josh at Spurs Live. How you doing, Josh? Long time no see.
Long time no see. Doing well here. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Just trying to figure out our week. No Tottenham to talk about this weekend, but North London derby coming up soon. What do you want to talk about today, mate?
I mean, let's start off with, the fixtures. You just started there. Big game coming ahead. Again, we can take points off Arsenal, or you can look at it the other hand and say we can add points to ourselves. It's a big amount of games coming up. I feel like Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, all them big teams coming up, and City, Burnley as well. It's not looking great for us for fixture wise. Look, I'm looking. I'll tell you what. From a Tottenham perspective, I feel like we can do well in this fixture. There are a lot of games that are in our benefit. I'd say the Arsenal game as well. Form goes out, so that's kind of in our way, in our positive. We got City that we're always good against. But I think what us as fans need to do is be realistic and not think we're going to win every single game. We're not going to every single game thinking we're going to win, because that really isn't going to happen. But look, I think a big thing I do want to talk about though is I don't know who. I think it was Brains who just talked about it. Was a 6. And very quickly, the way I look at it and the way I look at this 6 in this Ange Postecoglou team, it's essentially another defender, because the fullbacks go as a number 10, and Bissouma, what he should be doing, in my opinion, is just dictate the passing, dictate the possession on the halfway line, and almost be a third centre-back to come in and slot in when the 2 fullbacks go up. As we saw against Newcastle, defensively, I didn't think the 6 was any good at all. Yeah. I think many times, 2 goals were because Van de Ven and Romero were by themselves. They were isolated by themselves, when no matter what football team you watch, there's never a football team that there's only 2 centre-backs. Let's take a look at the best team in the world right now, which is Manchester City. Not right now, but I'm saying Manchester City are one of the best teams in the world. And you can see that we are playing a similar style to them, and they're never with 2 at the back. They're always with at least 3 to 4 players to 4 at the back. And I think that's something that Bissouma needs to learn in his role, that he isn't supposed to be the attacking threat. He needs to leave that to either a Pape or to a Maddison or to the wingers, to the fullbacks. He is supposed to give those nice passes to Maddison to allow that attack to happen. And another thing, the reason why Maddison for me right now isn't playing to his best is because he needs to collect the ball from Bissouma, because Bissouma isn't doing his job. And when he's collecting the ball from, our half and then having to drive it all the way to the other half, by the time he passes the ball to Wano, to Johnson, he's nowhere near there. He's nowhere near up the field to create something. I mean, lads, my question to you guys, if it could be happening, is: do you think that the problem is the 10 or the 6 in this team, or is it even a problem?
I do think there's a problem with the 6 in this team. I don't think, as well, they're just not playing to the required ability that we've seen them play this season, particularly defensively with Bissouma. And I was just thinking a bit outside the box. Do you think maybe it could be an option to play Romero in the 6 and play in the role that you're talking about, dropping in between the 2 centre backs, and maybe have a Kim Min-jae that plays right centre back, Dragushin, Tosin Adarabioyo, one of these players, because Romero's got that passing ability that maybe Bissouma doesn't have.
Yeah, no, I saw that on Twitter a couple of days ago with regards to Romero, and I'm not too sure. I mean, if it was up to me entirely, I would want to try him out there, but look at this. We fumbled our chance to try anything because against Newcastle, when Ange was supposed to try something new in that midfield, he didn't. So I don't know. I feel like the main problem for me with this team, with this Ange Postecoglou. By the way, before I say any problems, I feel like this team is unbelievable. Let's not get this wrong. Yeah, this team is literally from last season. We all expected. I mean, I'm talking about myself. I expected us to finish at least 8th, 7th. Like 7th would be great. And to see us now challenging for the Champions League is unbelievable. But if we really want to try and find, something to pinpoint about Tottenham that we could improve on, it's 100% that attacking line. I know I'm jumping from that CDM spot, but I just want to say that I want to talk about that attacking line for a second. Sonny playing as a striker really doesn't work out for me. Now, this is a huge debate that's been carrying on. I personally had it on my channel and put it on the Instagram, and the majority of people said that they would rather play Sonny on the left, and I 100% agree with them. I believe that Son's best position is on the left. He doesn't need to necessarily utilize his pace to get past the defenders. All he needs to do is use his finesse shots. We all know Sonny's finesse shots is one of the best in the league, and his hold-up play as a striker is what's lacking in this Tottenham team. Now,
when did you do that poll, Josh?
I did it yesterday evening, and yesterday during my live stream, and there was, I've got the stats here, there was 416 votes for a striker and 1,048 votes for left wing.
I can guarantee you, though, if you would have done that about a month ago, it would have been the other way around, in my opinion.
Do you think that... Okay, yeah, I can understand that. But I feel like right now, if we're talking about right now, we now need to go beat Arsenal. Yeah? Mm-hmm. I genuinely don't see a world, honestly, I don't see a world where Son's holding up a ball and Gabriel and Saliba's behind him. Like, let's be realistic. Son's great, he's good, he's got good. Did you see
the game in the Emirates early in the season?
Yeah.
And Son got a brace, didn't he?
He did, but my point is right now, I feel like the striking ability, the attacking ability we got right now is Werner can't hold up the ball, Johnson can't really hold up the ball, and Son can't hold up the ball. We got 3 players who are attacking.
That's a problem. That's a problem. But I don't think it's a problem with Son. That's a problem with Spurs, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't think we have a better alternative against Arsenal up front for sure. We need him up front, in my opinion. I think we need that pace in behind. We need that threat. I think for me, I think Son, there's a potential that Son's best position could be on the left. The reason I don't think it's on the left right now is because how Ange plays his wingers. Ange needs Son, when he's playing on the left, to get to the byline and cut the ball in and cross the ball, take his man on, be creative. I just don't think that's Son's best attributes anymore. For me, his best attributes are his shooting, his finishing ability, and his movement.
So why isn't he taking shots inside the box? We've had the most touches in the box. Why is no one taking shots?
No, it's a problem. And when he comes up against teams who clog up the penalty area and give him no space and deprive him of that, then he will struggle. And maybe on those kind of games, we should probably see him on the left. I'm just saying in general, I do think his best position is up front, because I think it utilises his best attributes, which is getting him in more central areas. So when he gets the ball, he's in more goal-scoring positions, so that he utilises his best assets, which is his goal-scoring and movement. And I think, for me, the assets that you need to play on the wing and Postecoglou's system is pace, ability to take on a man, and ability to create chances consistently and have good delivery. Now, he's got good delivery, don't get me wrong, but I don't think those are his best attributes. I think his best attributes are in front of goal, and to get the best out of those attributes would be playing him striker, in my opinion.
And that's one of the problems for me with Ange. I love Ange to bits, but that's one of my problems with Ange. I feel like he isn't utilising the different types of plays he's got up front. The reason why I was so gassed to get Johnson at the beginning of the season, and I was very, very happy. And I wasn't gassed to get Werner, but I was very happy to get Werner, was because they're very versatile. Son in himself is very versatile. I'm not seeing this Ange Postecoglou utilising his wingers. We've got three types of wingers. We've got a winger, well, two really types of wingers. We've got Werner and Johnson, who pure pace, beat defenders, unbelievable. A classic Tottenham goal where they, cross it and either Son or Johnson to tap it in. Then we've got a different type of winger, like Heung-min Son and Dejan Kulusevski, which is more of a cut-in and type of winger. Mm-hmm. But if Ange Postecoglou, which I can understand that some games you do need to have, you just need to have wingers that can take on defenders. For me, I would like to see different types of wingers affecting the game at different types of time. If I'm playing Arsenal right now and I'm seeing that, I'm starting Kulusevski on that right hand side and I'm seeing Kulusevski cutting in all the time, but the Arsenal left back, Zinchenko is doing really, really well to cut in those balls. He's making sure that Kulusevski is not cutting in. Then I would say, okay, Ange, let's do a substitution. Johnson in, Kulusevski out, bang. That's it. We utilise different types of attackers. But when I see that I've got both wingers who are attacking just down the line, there's no one to cut in to take a shot. There's no one to cut in and create some danger inside. And the only one to do that, which is to cut in or to take a shot, is James Maddison from that central area. But the problem again with central area that I'm going to go back to is Bissouma. Bissouma is not on his A game. Therefore, Maddison has to drop deep to collect the ball. And until he's there, bang, we've lost the ball. So that's really my problem with regards to those type of wingers.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's very fair to say that. And I think that Kulusevski and Son, the way they like to play the wing role, don't really suit the system and what Ange Postecoglou is trying to play. I do think, though, that when you're talking specifically about Son, I think Son can do it better than a Dejan Kulusevski. But it's different horses for different courses, right? Depends what team you're going to come up against in case of where Son is going to play. And I do think these games that we've got coming up, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, that is where Son is going to be the best at his number 9 with the space that he's going to have in behind. So I think it's imperative that he plays in those positions in these games.
I guess we'll have to respectfully disagree, I guess.
Fair enough. But just before I let you go, Josh, if I said to you, I'm not gonna ask you about 2 buttons or anything like that, so don't worry about that. But I'm gonna say,
what's wrong with the buttons?
I like the buttons. Look, bring them back.
See?
All right, fine. I'll give you the 2 buttons. One button is Spurs get Champions League and Arsenal win tonight. Spurs don't get Champions League and Arsenal lose tonight.
I don't hear what the second bit is, but Arsenal lose tonight. That's all I care about. if Tottenham don't make Champions League, we need to understand that we're not good enough for Champions League. There's no point of going to Champions League and getting beaten every single night, coming home and crying in bed every single night. Like I'd rather watch myself play against a Sheffield where we beat them 5-0. That rarely happens, but then go to I don't know, go to Munich and lose 7-1 to Bayern. So. Let's get real, But thank you so much. I appreciate it, lads,
Thanks for coming on, my friend. We'll speak to you next time.
Big up.
Big up. All right, thank you very much, Josh, for calling in, and big up to all of you in the chat. 290 people with us right now, so everyone smash that like button while you're here. We've got another call in. The calls just keep coming, and next up is Justin. How you doing, Justin?
Doing well. Out here in California, so it's somewhat early. But
sunny California. What time is it there?
Just before 9, 8:40.
Wow, it's 9. Well before our time in the morning anyway. But Justin, what do you want to talk about today?
Well, it's a good thing Josh went before me, because there are some things I do agree with that he said, especially about the attacking lineups. But one thing I don't think Son should be a left winger. He's not a left winger, especially as he's getting older. He's getting slower. He is clinical, and we all know that. So he needs to play in the 9 for me. Our front three, I was looking at the table. I genuinely think it's 13th best in the league.
13th?
Like, if I could take all of our attacking, look at the table. I would take who's lower than 13th. Like, I would take all of Palace's attackers over ours right now if you gave me the chance.
Olise and Eze, I guess. They're probably getting to our team.
Olise and Eze on the wings.
Edward?
Mateta or something.
Mateta is as good as Richarlison, in my opinion. I think Richarlison's horrible.
I guarantee you, Justin, if we had Mateta and Crystal Palace had Richarlison, you'd probably think the other way around.
But we'd have wingers that create chances for him.
Well,
like,
I'm talking about just those. I'm just talking about just those two.
You'd probably take Eze and Elise over Werner and Johnson.
I would take Eze and Elise, but I would not take Mateta over Richarlison.
Okay, but that's 2 out of 3. Do you see the problem here? We are trying to get 4th, and next year, according to Ange, we're going to go for a title charge. I mean, our front three
we're going to need some new attackers.
Behind.
I think we know that. We're going to need some new attackers.
But we also need a 6. We need a backup left center back. We need a backup left back. Like, there's so much work to do. When someone says we need to go on a title charge, it's like, there's no way we're getting all these attackers in. Like, those
to be fair, Ange thought he was going to go
go
for the title this season.
Yeah. Well, then he signed Johnson, and that went out the window, in my opinion. I mean, Johnson.
You don't like Brennan?
Like, oh man, I don't see what people see when. Okay, this system takes courage. It takes courage to play. You have to be really, really brave. Everyone says it, right? Everyone knows it, because you're going to be on the ball a ton, and you're going to be in positions where the opposition is pressing you. When Romero gets the ball, or a midfielder gets the ball, and they look to the right wing, especially in build-up, look at Johnson's position. He hides. He is a scared player out there. You can see it on his face. Like, he hides behind their opposition left back and doesn't check down the line to keep it, because he can't keep it when getting pressed behind. He's not strong enough. He doesn't win fouls. He needs 30 yards of space in order to be comfortable on the ball. Like,
I do think you have a point, but I think that your point was probably a bit more valid when Johnson first started playing for us, and I do think that he has gradually got better in those aspects as the season has gone on.
Yeah, gradually getting better is, I mean, I would hope so, right? He was abysmal at first, so that is something. But if you look at our team, you have Van de Ven, who's very young, performing at a top level. You have Udogie, very young, performing at a top level. Sarr is getting there. You can see the potential there. Brendan Johnson is a project. He's going to take a minimum of 2 to 3 years to get to the point where he can be a contributor in a genuine title contender, in my opinion. So, and by that time, honestly, Van de Ven will be looked at as one of the best center backs in the world, in my opinion. Udogie, the best left back in the league already, is only getting better. Like, these players are going to be linked to Man City. These players are going to be linked to Real Madrids of the world. Like, we're going to have issues if our best attacker and the guy we spent $50 million on is going to take 3 years to develop. It's just not the timeline, considering we have young players and younger players than him that are performing week in, week out top level and getting noticed. I mean, these players are not under the radar anymore.
So what do you suggest? You saying we should sell Brendan already?
If it meant getting in an elite winger, yeah, to be honest, if there's not enough money. But if we're genuinely going to be title contenders in the near future, we need a whole new front three, in my opinion. We need Brendan Johnson to be the backup for the right wing. We need Son to be the backup for the striker and the left wing. and we need to bring in 3 attackers who, they're going to be a ton of money. You're going to need a Nico Williams on the left. You're going to need an Isak up front, and you're going to need an Elise on the right. That's a title-winning team. That is a front 3 that gets you, 50 goal contributions between the 3 of them.
I get what you're saying 100%, and I agree to a certain extent, but Son is an elite world-class player. Like, he's not gonna. You can't just have Son here to be a backup player. Like, Son is one of the best players in the Premier League. Never mind just at Tottenham. Like, surely Son up front as the number 9 with someone that can have different attributes to back him up, like a Santiago Jimenez, someone like that. If they can have them rotating against kind of like low blocks and stuff like that. Son as a number 9 and 2 proper one-on-one demons on the wings. I would agree with you on that.
Yeah, I agree. Son should stay, but let's not kid ourselves. He's getting older. He's going to be 32 next year? 33?
32.
So,
32, yeah.
So if we're looking at, the general makeup of our squad, it's pretty young. Like, our oldest player that's besides Son is who? Madison at 27, 28. So in our peak, hopefully, in the next 2 years, which will probably be 2 years from now, when Udogi's developed a little bit more, Van de Ven's been there, Romero's a little older now. We have a 6 that's hopefully we're getting this summer that has acclimated to the Premier League or has gotten used to how Ange wants him to play. Son's going to be 34. Like, he is not in the timeline for this makeup of players. He is a fantastic player. We have loved him ever since, well, after that first season, I guess, but he was still decent the first season. You could see a player there. And he's developed into something I don't know if anyone expected him to be this great. So, but at some point, the timeline doesn't match.
Right, but as long as he's still performing like he is now, 15 goals, 8 assists, 9 assists, I think it is. As long as he's contributing that kind of level, then you need to have him in the team, no?
Yeah, until you go and get an Isak, in my opinion. I think once you get an Isak and you get a left winger that is an Ange winger, who's young, who's talented, who is, growing with the team, I think then Son has to go and take a back seat, to be honest. I think he needs to let the young ones behind him flourish. And imagine if Isak is in this team or any other striker. I mean, even if Solanke, who I don't particularly rate that highly, but imagine if Solanke in this team, he's scoring probably 15, 20 goals too.
Solanke.
Like this, okay, if you got decent wingers, again, I think our wingers are horrible.
I agree with you on the wingers. I think we can agree on the wingers. I think
Solanke would score 15 goals, yeah. I agree.
So that's what I'm saying. So if Son can score, is 32 scoring 15 goals, and you get a young striker at 25 or 26 scoring 15 goals a year, and you let him develop into a really, really talented striker who can score 20 to 30, then Son has to, he has to be moved on at some point. That's the first point I have to say about kind of the attacking lineup.
Son has to be here till the end of his career. That's the fact of the matter.
He can, but he'll be a backup. He'll have to be a backup striker.
You have to manage him at some point. I think it gets to a stage, of course, when players start aging, that you have to manage them. They can't play every minute of every game.
We're not at that point yet.
Yeah, I don't think we're there just yet. Maybe we're getting there, but I don't think we're there at the moment.
No, next year, if we get 2 elite wingers, I will be more than happy, because I can't watch Brennan Johnson get the ball and dribble out of bounds anymore. I can't watch it. Like, we have wingers who can't do a step over. Like, do you understand how mediocre that is? Like, it's actually embarrassing. Can you imagine Brennan Johnson at any point in his career playing for a top team, playing for a team that wins a title, playing in a Man City shirt? It's like, it's actually astounding we paid $50 million for him, and Brentford have pulled our, what's down.
So, and I'm guessing you think the same about Werner as well.
I actually genuinely think Werner is a better player than Brennan Johnson. Just in general build-up, I think he's more secure. I think, he can't shoot, but hopefully our wingers don't. I mean, he doesn't get in that many positions to shoot anyways, so it's not that big of a deal for me. And for $15 million, if you could tell me I have to spend 50 million on Brennan Johnson or 15 on Werner, I'm taking Werner like as a backup and one that can play across the front three the same as Brennan sort of can. I would take Werner if I had to choose between the two of them.
Back on your point about Brennan Johnson though, like I think it's harsh what you're saying. I do think it's harsh. But I agree to a certain extent that we do need two more wingers to come in and be proper Ange wingers, and Brennan Johnson needs some competition there because I don't really consider Kulusevski a right winger in this system. I really don't. And with Brennan Johnson, with the attributes that he does have, 22 years of age, making the step up from Nottingham Forest, which is a massive step up to make, 22 years of age, I do think you're going to see him get better and better and better. And I think you've seen that throughout this season as well. I was a heavy and big critic of Brennan Johnson a couple of months back, and I think he's improved tenfold in what he's shown in his performance level in a Spurs shirt. So I think that Brennan Johnson can do the role. I just think he needs nurturing and he needs more time to get used to the system and improve his skills as well.
Yeah, that's fair. And he is getting in good positions, even though he's somehow missing from 2 yards out on the goal line, basically, a couple of times this year. I don't even know how he's done that. But when you say you need two wingers and he needs to be nurtured and still brought into the system, it's like those two wingers are taking his spot. He's not playing as much, or he 100%. Should. So how do you expect him to improve to the level that you would like him to justify this 50 million, output we gave Brentford or we gave Forest for him?
I think you need to get the price tag out of your mind, to be honest. I think you just need to see all players as what they are and what they're contributing within the system and with the team. You have Brennan Johnson on the right, whether it's Timo Werner or someone else on the left, and you need to bring in two players that are better than them to compete with them.
Yeah, I agree. If we're bringing in players to compete with them, though, they should blow those two wingers out of the starting 11 within the first month of being here. Like, that's the level of winger that should be at this club. And I agree, Kulusevski is not a right winger for me. He is a backup 10 to Maddison or competition for Maddison in the 10 role. I just think he's freer there. He seems more alive. He's good. He's pretty good in tight spaces, and he has a good physical build to throw his body around, so he can do some defensive work in there. I like him as a backup 10. I would move him inside permanently and get that right winger that should start week in, week out next year, especially if we're in the Champions League and I see Werner and Brennan Johnson as our wingers, we are going to be in trouble. But I have one more thing to talk about before I hop off and let some other people get on. I think fans have this weird infatuation with looking at a poor Premier League team and picking out the one or two like sort of bright dim spots in there and really going over the top of how good they are. I mean, Brennan Johnson was a decent player at Forest, but no one was really saying he should be playing in the top team. But we're talking about, Amadou Onana to replace Bissouma for the 6. He got hooked at halftime and was horrible against Chelsea. And so I think we have this infatuation where we look at a poor club and we look at a half-decent player in there and we think they're like the bee's knees and should be playing at a top team, when I don't think that's the case. We do, I see a lot of fans do it with Doughty, the left back from Luton. I think he's a decent player at best, but he's not a top 6 player. Like, let's not overhype some of these guys. I think that's where you get in trouble when it comes to transfers. I think we should look at it the other way. I think you should look at the top teams in the league and the players that are on the fringes of getting in that team and fighting to get in, but not getting the opportunity. Those are the players that you should be going for, because those are the players that grew up playing attacking football, that grew up dominating the ball, that grew up in their academies, playing the way we want to play. They're comfortable on the ball. They don't come from academies like Luton or Forest who are from the Championship. Like, those players, you can see how they play the game and how they understand the game. You look at Cole Palmer, right? I mean, what a signing, okay? That is the type of player we need to be looking at. The guys that come from the big academies that play attacking football in the youth team and just can't quite break in. I look at someone like, I don't know if he's available because they love him. I look at someone like Harvey Elliott. That is exactly the type of profile I'm looking at. Even, dare I say it, Emil Smith-Rowe as a backup 10 would be really nice. But you can tell just how they play. I don't think players in the down the league, it's hard to gauge those because they don't play in teams that dominate the ball.
But Justin, if you're trying to overtake teams in the top three, you're signing their players who aren't good enough to play for them, essentially, is it ever going to get you to a place where you're overtaking the teams you're competing with if you're signing their bench players?
Well, you would hope they're young, right? You'd hope they have elite players in front of them that they can't displace, like Phil Foden, in Cole Palmer's case. So it's like, yeah, you're going to take a risk, but isn't that just the same risk as buying an Onana who's struggling right now in a struggling team?
I think he's struggled in that one game. I think he's been brilliant all season, Amadou Onana. I really do. But forget Amadou Onana for a second. I'm a big advocate of him, but I think he was poor the other night against Chelsea. But you look at Alex Ferguson's Man United team. You look at Chelsea, Man City, maybe the latter two to a lesser extent, but they all made careers out of buying the best players from all around the Premier League. A lot of the Man United players were like that. You look at Gary Cahill, who did he come from? Like Bolton or someone like that. You look at John Stones, he came from Everton. You know, all these teams, they all have players. Who? Sadio Mane, Southampton, Toby Alderweireld, Southampton. You know, you look at all these teams, they all have players that have been picked off from these kind of clubs, and they've all made a name for themselves. Yes, there's been misses as well. Calvin Phillips that have come in, hasn't done the job. So that's where it's up to the scouting network and the scouting system to really identify what talents that are going to work in your system.
Yeah, that is a good point. I do take that a lot of good players come from, bottom half Premier League teams. And there are some that I would very much want to see next year come into Spurs from bottom half teams. Even from like the Leeds team that got relegated, I would have taken two of their wingers potentially.
You take Somerville?
I really like Somerville. I really like Nonto. I don't know how he's doing this year, but I really like what I saw in the Premier League.
He's doing great.
Yeah. So I really like him. So there are players that you can get now. Are those two the level to start for Spurs? I don't know. Someone else would have to. Someone who watches Leeds week in week out will be able to tell me more. But there are wingers there. I mean, I think attacking players, you can get them from lower teams because those players shine. Olise, Eze, we've already talked about. Tony, Mbuemo. Like these players would all walk into our team. Let's be honest. Eze, I mean, I guess you'd have to put him on the left, but which is why I wouldn't sign Eze because I don't think he's a priority signing for a position in the starting 11 that he just would walk in. I'd rather have Nico Williams as a left winger than Eze. Or a player like that.
Nico Williams, I think, is just perfect for our system and exactly what we need for what we're trying to do. He would be the one, wouldn't he? And for the money that they're talking about, I think 44 million release clause, it should be a no-brainer. I mean, if we're signing Brendan for 50, then it should be a no-brainer to sign Nico Williams for 43.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he would be unbelievable in this Ange system. He would be absolutely world-class. Like, he might just, like, he's exploding now. He would absolutely go ballistic next year if you got him playing with the freedom, playing with Madison, playing the balls to him. I mean, look at the positions Werner can get in. Imagine what position Nico Williams can get into. Oh, man. So he would be one that would be right up the top of the list. I mean, I've said it years ago. I thought Bowen would have been a really smart signing for us at one point.
We were linked with him before he went to West Ham, weren't we?
Yeah, but it's hard. It's hard for a team of, Spurs standard who has been a top 4 contender consistently the last, 5 to 10 years to go and get someone from the championship and for big money and put them right in. I mean, we tried it with Jack Clark, right? We tried it. And it didn't quite work. So it's almost like those players need that middle step. Like they need to go to the Palace. They need to go to the West Ham. They need to go to the Brentford type and really prove it. You see Eze and Olise doing it now, coming from QPR and Reading. And those players, I think, need that middle step. I don't think they can go straight into a top team. Like you wouldn't see
unless you're a Dele Alli.
Yeah, that was a one in a lifetime signing. You'll probably never find a player in the third division to ever do that again. For the short prime he had, sadly. But
yeah. But Justin, thank you so much for calling in today. Really good call.
Nice to see you, Justin.
Thank you guys. Cheers.
See you there, mate.
Thanks a lot.
How many callers do we have in the back end, Sammy? 6. We'll have to get through them quickly then. We'll go to Davey.
Oh, is he? Hello?
Oh, it looks like he's lost connection. All right. We'll go to the next one. Oh, he's back, is he? Davey? No, it's poor connection.
Can you hear me?
Oh. Davey?
Can you hear me?
We can, but you're lagging a little bit. Your connection seems quite poor.
Oh, he's gone.
He's gone. All right, we'll go to Mikey next. Mikey, how's it going, mate?
Oh, hey, sorry, I wasn't expecting.
Caught you off guard, did we?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you guys?
Yeah, not bad, my friend.
I just wasn't ready. I'm here though.
What do you want to talk about today?
No.
Okay.
Wanted to
Sorry, go on, what are you saying?
Sorry, Mikey.
No, because I'm lagging now. I'm 5 seconds ahead of what I can see you saying.
Oh, I see.
Got you.
So what I wanted to talk about was the lack of a plan B for Spurs in games when we're not playing particularly well. I think that's a massive problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people have said stuff about plan Bs and stuff, and we all knew this, though, before Ange came in. I mean, we heard the famous quotes, didn't we, that what's plan B is do plan A better. But I do think that But you do see Ange do different things when, we are losing late in games, bring on different players, maybe add Kulusevski into the midfield. But I think structurally, is there a plan B? That's the question. I don't think so.
I would argue no, because if you look at the way we play, obviously I can pull up, there's literally been tens of examples, even hundreds of examples. Even though there's only been about 30 matches this season, we're still at a point where we've had hundreds of instances where we're at the brink of their penalty area and they've packed it so tightly and we have no option. No player to pick a pass. Obviously, trying to penetrate a low block team without a counter-attacking system is quite a hard thing to do, because if you haven't got the space in behind, you just have to rely on a bit of magic or to rely on a bit of play to get you through. And we just don't, we used to attacking with space, and without that space, it looks like we're a little bit stifled. You saw the way Eddie Howe dealt with our inverted fullbacks by just pushing as high as they could, and eventually it led to 4 scoring chances and them having 4 goals scored. And it's just, you look at it and you've just got to think, not necessarily a plan B where it's a radical change, but something that can lead us into a little bit of a different system, keeping a structural similarity, but with enough difference for it to take an opponent off guard, rather than relying on the same constant thing and it not working out.
I kind of felt like at the beginning of the season we did have more of that plan B when Richarlison was available, and then all of a sudden we have that physical option that can, we can swing a ball into and cause teams problems that way. And I also think he has shown an ability to change things quickly or proactively if it's not working. I know he didn't do that on the weekend, but the week before against Forest he did do that. He changed it at half-time, double substitution, and I think he's done that a few times as well. So I don't buy into this narrative that he doesn't have a plan B. I think we've been stifled in some games, and just because some games have been stifled, you're going to get that. You're going to get teams stopping you and doing it successfully. Doesn't mean that every time a team does that means you never have a plan B, because I think I can probably point to a number of different times where we have changed things up and had successfully changed it and won the game. Like that, I remember early in the season, Sheffield United, they sat in a low block, they were 1-0 up, and then he changed it. He put Richarlison on, he put Kulusevski in the centre. We ended up turning it around and winning 2-1. So there are definitely, in my opinion, examples of him successfully changing it and mixing things up and having a different avenue of attack. I just think a lot of people point to the examples when it hasn't happened, it hasn't worked, and say, oh, he has no plan B. But I don't really buy into it, in my opinion.
I see where you're coming from. There is I think his plan B, obviously substitutions do constitute a plan B. I think his plan B is more player-based and system-based. Now, I'm not saying all managers need a second system because, you look at teams like Man City and Liverpool, they play with the same system regardless of whether it's working or not. But I feel like they have different tactical profiles, whereas we have that to a point, but we don't have the same level of quality in the backup. Like you look at in attack for Liverpool, for example, they can bring on Diogo Jota, Cody Gakpo, Darwin Nunez, the chaos border himself, and kind of be able to. Like, they've got Arsenal. Have got Jesus, Trossard, Martinelli, Nketiah to a point, Bukayo Saka as well. And it's like we have a certain set of players that all have similar skill sets. Obviously, Kulusevski is different from Brennan Johnson, but I feel like the difference isn't large enough for me to constitute that as a plan B, even if they are coming on and changing the game. Like, I thought Højbjerg was brilliant against Forest. I was there at the game. He was brilliant in the second half, and I thought he maybe should have started ahead of Bissouma in the match against Newcastle because Bissouma's been off form and Højbjerg had a good 45. But obviously, one good cameo doesn't reward a starting berth in this team. You've got to be consistent. But I feel like the lack of, I guess I can't really phrase it. I know the lack of a plan B is me kind of saying that I think tactical profiling, we have players who are similar, who are different, but similar enough for it to not be a massive difference and not be able to change a game against a low block defense, for example.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do agree with that point that we could do with better options, different kind of options in the forward line off the bench, and I think we do struggle with that. Hopefully that'll come with time and more signings and different kind of options from the forward line. And I think when it comes to us changing it up on that front, when it comes to just changing the wingers or changing Madison for Lo Celso and stuff like that, I guess it's not too different of a change, I guess, a lot of the time, and that leads to Spurs struggling in some occasions to really switch things up. But I think Ange probably knows this. I think Ange is aware of the changes that are needed. And I do think, give him another window and that might change.
Yeah, I know, because I look at our winger options. Like, we're starting Werner and Johnson. They seem to be the favoured two at the moment, and they are similar in a lot of ways. Very pacey wingers, very able to get into the box and cut it across, but perhaps lacking that little bit of clinical finishing. Obviously, Johnson has scored goals, but I don't think anyone would say he's a dead-eyed finisher. And Timo Werner's obviously not one. I've been very impressed with him, but for all his good things, he's missing really good chances, and that is worrying. And I think you've got Dejan Kulusevski, who we can't play Werner and Johnson very well against low blocks because there isn't that space for them to run into. We can't play Dejan Kulusevski because his creative abilities aren't built for He's good at, he was supposed to be good at crossing on his left foot, but it's very predictable now. And so they just defend him, force him onto his right, and against a low block, chances are the quality of cross ain't going to be great on his right, and it'll be cleared away. We have Mano Solomon, who's a good winger, but he's been injured since September now. And Brian Hill is not got a future at the club. So I think we've got profiles of wingers that are good, but you don't have that like with strikers, it ain't working with Son. You can bring on Richarlison and look for a headed goal. That is a different tactical profile. You've got Højbjerg versus Bissouma. Højbjerg less mobile but better passing range. Bissouma more of a mobile midfielder, and you've got Papsar and Bentancur who offer different things. But in that winger role where we've been having a lot of problems, and at centre back, and just in fullbacks in general, I think we probably need more capable backups that can offer something different. Like a Doku off the bench when it's not working with Doku, they bring on Grealish, who's more of a controller. They've got Jeremy Doku, who's a lightning rod. Those different profiles, especially on the wing, can really help with a team that functionally in the attack relies on its wingers for its service. And I think that's an important kind of point that the Nico Williams will solve. So that's just my 2 pennies worth on it.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on. And definitely as the team progresses and Ange figures out the players he wants, he doesn't want, so I think you'll see that happen. And this summer is a key summer to bring in these kind of players that we need, particularly in the front line. So, Mikey, thank you so much for calling in, my friend, and we'll speak to you next time.
No problem. Have a good one, guys.
Cheers, Mikey.
And to you, mate. Big up to Mikey from one legend to the next. It's Mr. KP Vizzles.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that. That's my name now. You're gonna have to call me that from now on. That's my name.
Don't wear it
Vineyard.
out.
Yes, boys. How are we doing?
Good, mate. How are you?
Good, Carl.
I'm good, man. Like, if you thought last night's game was brilliant, wait until you see tonight's game. Wait until you see.
Who's going to win tonight?
I'm going City and Bayern, man. Harry Class Day against the scum. You know it. And on this day 5 years ago, you two went up to the empty had or the deck he had, and we won on away goals. And I said on Twitter, boys, change the title on your match day vlog. It wasn't Toby, it was Llorente. Okay, so
it says Llorente on the title.
No, it doesn't. It says Toby because I've seen it.
It says Llorente, mate.
No, it says Toby, mate, because it used to, like, you know, when Llorente scored, it said Toby scored, but nah, mate.
I think what you're talking about is what we said. I think Sim said or I said Toby scored, but then Llorente scored. But in the vlog, on the title, it actually says Llorente, and in the video, it says Llorente, and then in brackets, not Toby.
Yeah, but then why did Sim say Toby score when the screen actually...
Come on, Sim, get it right.
It was madness. It's all the chaos. Who knows? I still don't know to this day. I still think it's Toby. I've seen the replay, and I'm still convinced.
Took a nick off Toby, didn't you see?
Toby headed that.
Sim.
Justice for Toby. Justice for Toby.
Man.
That's what I'm saying.
It came off Llorente's tip because they're checking for ham. They're thinking of checking, man. Potential handballing. Like,
yeah, but Toby flicked it on. Llorente may or may not have got a touch. We don't know. We don't know.
You're not sure goals you want. And I was at home watching that with my mum. I was watching that, and my dad was upstairs, and that game and I still can't be didn't like that green kit when we played in it, Ben. I still can't be didn't like it. Like, come on,
Ben.
Like,
what's going on?
I didn't like it at first, but I said I love it now.
All of a sudden you change your tune.
I'm a flip flop on the green kit.
Yeah, but lad, just a couple of days ago was the anniversary when Danny Rose scored that banger against the scum.
It was indeed.
And
I was there.
Yeah, I know Ben was not because he was at home. He must have been watching it with his mate. But
I was there.
No, Kyle knows you weren't, mate.
I was there.
No, Kyle knows your whereabouts, Ben. And you were most definitely not there.
How did you?
I've got a phone to pick with you two about something.
Go on.
When you two done the England-Italy combined 11 for the final, you two made a big mistake putting Bonucci, Donnarumma, Chiellini in. Why would you do it, huh? You know,
because they were the best players in those positions at that time.
Why would you not pick Pickford over Donnarumma, Ben?
Nah, Ben.
Why would you not put Maguire over Chiellini? Seriously.
Ben, I'm serious. Did you not see our games, yeah? We kept more clean sheets than those Italian pricks did. And Sammy's right. Fuck Italy. We were what? And Foden was injured.
Is that what Sammy said? Sammy's getting strays. Sammy's getting strays here.
Yeah, Sammy's white, and I'm with it. And this time, lad, you will not be doing that mistake because we can't play them in the final because they're in a different group. So, forget it.
Are you telling me that you're agreeing with a Chelsea fan over here?
You
can't be agreeing with a Chelsea fan.
Well, I have to, Ben, because you two should probably made the biggest mistake putting them three in. Like, you know it was a mistake. We had the best defence in that tournament. We had more clean sheets than Donnarumma did. And Pickford kept 5 clean sheets. Donnarumma only kept 3. And Donnarumma won the goalkeeper of the tournament when Pickford won a Golden Glove. It was 5 clean sheets, blood. Like, have you not seen the
So you're angry that we picked the player of the tournament as the player in the combined 11?
Are we on a bit? Hold on. Bye, darling. Yeah, like, you two are just being a bit of a chickens, boys. Like, you know...
We're Tottenham fans. What do you expect? We got cockerels in the heart.
And what's that got to do with blood? Like, you know it makes sense. Like, Luke Shaw, yeah, scored in the final. That's the fastest goal. Like, I reckon he'll do it again. Like, but we can't play Italy this summer in the final because they're in a different group. Like, if we get them in the quarters, then we'll batter them. We've already beaten them 2 times in the group stage. Like, in our qualifier for the Euros, we beat them and Kane scored. Kane's now scored 4 times past Donnarumma. He just loves playing against Italy. And I'm actually hosting a thing over here in Hertfordshire, lads, for the Euros England-Denmark game. And
Okay.
I'm wondering if you'd like to come. Like, I know you guys are really far, but I'd love if you guys came and we could watch England-Denmark. And I think that's on the 20th of June. It's a Thursday. If you guys are doing like a watch along for it, then it would be nice if you two came along and we can watch. Like, I wish I would have came to watch England games for the last Euros, but I couldn't because I was here. But the good news is I'll see you two jabronis in Canada for the World Cup 2 years because I've got family over there, so I'll see you two there. But it's like it's going to be brilliant. This summer we have to win it. Sammy's right, we have to win it.
KPV, we got a comment here from Ryman Son says, "Can I get an invite too, KPV?"
Sure, why not, Ryan? Just wing me, mate, and I'll send you the address, and I'll get one of my carers to get in contact with you. Message me on Instagram or Twitter, and I'll see what I can do, mate. Because I need company, man. I'm getting bored, man. I don't like being on my own watching England games, so it's coming this time.
It's coming home.
Yeah,
we're going to win it on German soil.
Yeah, because I want to say rest in peace to Sir Bobby, absolute legend, and other England legends have passed. I'm saddened, but it's really sad. The legend, Sir Bobby Charlton, great England player, won the World Cup and won the European Cup with United, but no one cares about that team. Like, I'm just happy the Spurs women are winning an FA Cup final, but the ladies show what our boys can't do. So, well done, girls. Let's do this. But Sunday, boys, I'm watching my local team, Coventry, slap United to bits, and bye-bye Ten Hag, because you don't deserve to be there. They're crap. Up the Coventry boys, and it'll be Coventry Man City in the final, and Coventry to win. I'll be at Wembley, but I'm definitely going to be there for the Champions League final as well. 1st of June, people know how I still feel about that day. Champions League final against Liverpool. I spoke to a taxi driver on the way to the Royal Albert Hall the Monday before, and he admitted it. It wasn't a penalty. So, referee, whatever your name was,
then.
He admitted
if the taxi driver says it, it must be true.
He is. He's right. And I don't know what this referee was in the Champions League final, but it came off Sissoko here, not here, because the VR didn't have a look. And I still see it on Twitter. You post it, and I'm still pissed off about it. Like, but Poch made a big mistake starting Kane. Like, I always say on every channel, every time, Kane did not get us there. Lucas Mourad got us there. It's big up to Expressions, he always says it. Lightning Lucas Mourad, my guy. The green shirt, if we had worn that in the final, we would have won it. Because the green shirt, we beat teams. I know Barcelona, I think we won 100.
City as well.
Yeah, that game. Like, I would have loved to come because... And Kulu actually loved scoring against City as well.
The deck
he
had.
Games, the deck he had. And we've actually got them at home. So if he scores, that'll be 4 games, but not the deck he had at home. The reason why we lost to them in FA Cup because Son was away. So, and yeah, Ake's goal should have been disallowed. Paul Tierney, the dumbass ref that he is, Vicario was fouled by Ruben Diaz. City are not going to win the FA Cup. Hopefully it's Coventry then. But everyone is still... Why is someone on Twitter saying we should be cheering on Arsenal because of their 5th place? Like, nah. I do not want to cheer on them lot. No chance, blood. Bayern Munich. Like, sorry, but I don't like Arsenal, man. Like, I can't stand them. I'd rather play for Bayern Munich than cheer on them people. Nah,
100%.
man.
Bayern Munich are basically a Spurs B team now anyway, so...
Yeah, they've got 2 of our players, and I actually done the Eric Dyer SBC on FC24, and I've got him in the team, blood. And
what's his rating?
88. The showdown.
88.
88. Eric Dyer. Come on.
Maybe that one will turn up tonight.
And yeah, and Tim, Ben, I want my rematch. I know you two have been busy for 2 years, and you haven't
Carl.
given us some
I
content.
haven't even got this latest FIFA. I've never even bought it.
Well, I know Sim must have it on a PlayStation, but I'm on Xbox, and I've still got you as a friend on Xbox, but you still got FIFA 23.
Yeah, I must have FIFA 23, but I haven't played the Xbox for about 2 years.
Oh, well.
You've been busy.
I've been busy.
I still can't believe you're moaning about me having the Emirates Stadium, because let me address something, yeah? I did not buy it. It was FIFA that gave me it, so I don't know why you two are moaning about it. But
you could have just changed your stadium, KPV.
Well,
and you had Aubameyang up front as well.
Who?
You had Aubameyang up front as well, didn't you?
Like I said, EA gave me that. I didn't buy him. EA, I packed him, and I don't know what is going on with you, Ben. You're moaning like I still can't be
going on with you. What is going on with this guy? I think that every day I said him, what is going on with you? He's a different person.
And I'm still saving my coins up to buy some legends on FC24. I might get Zidane, but I can pick any icon I want. And Ben doesn't know who I've got on FIFA 22 because he doesn't actually know.
You're damn right I don't know who you got on FIFA 22.
Because he's a jabroni, that's why he doesn't know.
You don't know who I got on FIFA 99, mate.
You ain't got FIFA 99. That was in the old PlayStation days, blood. But Ben actually doesn't know I've got a certain someone that we can't mention in FIFA 22. I've actually still got him.
No, let's not mention that. Look, we don't want to bring the smoke on you, KPV.
KPV, why are you bringing that up live on stream?
We tried to keep it a secret. Why are you exposing yourself?
You two mentioned it at the last Euros when you mentioned about the World Cup '98, his goals against Argentina. So you two started it. So
I didn't start nothing, Carl. We didn't start anything.
Well, Tim, you spoke to him at the FIFA Awards and he was not happy with you. So, but anyway, I don't care about him. I still don't like him. Well, it's a bit.
KPV, what do you think about club loyalty?
Shut up, Ben. Like, you dumb blood. Like, I'd rather play for Real Madrid at the moment. They're bigger.
Than who?
Than Tottenham, because we haven't won that.
Oh, come on, KPV.
Look, Ben, I've got a Real Madrid shirt, yeah? And I've actually got Vinicius Jr. because...
So you're a Real Madridista now?
Don't you have an Arsenal shirt as well?
Shut up, blood. Shut up, man. Are you dumb? Like, you're just acting like Teddy Sheringham, man.
You're acting like proper Teddy. Unbelievable. Like, you're absolutely right. He's a proper Sheringham.
Oh, Teddy.
You're a proper Sheringham.
Guess what song I've been listening to, Ben? Guess what song I've been listening to?
North London Forever?
No, Liam Gallagher, Supersonic. I know you saw him because I've been on your Instagram page and Ben Daniels saw Liam Gallagher, Supersonic. So thanks for letting me listening to that.
Yeah, well,
it's a great tune.
Go listen to the whole album, KPV. It's a masterpiece.
Yeah, that was Supersonic by Oasis, but Liam Gallagher was the one who actually performed it at the other venues. And he has the same birthday as me, so twin, same birthday. Thank you.
Wow.
I'm going to start calling you our kid.
And I've still got that Heung-min Son frame, but I might give it to my girlfriend Katie, who I'm going to meet on Monday. I have a date, and...
Wow. Come on, KPV! The man, the myth, the legend, he's got a date. Everyone give him a round of applause in the comments.
He's got a signed frame Son shirt. Wow.
Yeah.
She'll be all yours after that.
She is, man. 2 years I've been with her.
2 years.
And
congratulations.
She would not have been happy after the result on Saturday because I messaged her on TikTok and she wasn't happy. But the only birthday present she got was our woman being Leicester in the FA Cup semi-final. So at least she got one present to be happy with. And
100%.
And 2 years been together. And I'm going to get her something as well. I'm going to get her a necklace and a ring, and I might propose to her. So,
whoa! Too much. You don't want to give away all your secrets, KPV. What if she's watching? Now she's gonna know.
Nah, she might want you to come to our wedding, man. She'll want you to come.
Oh,
Yeah, come on, Ben. And I know
would love to come.
22nd of May, but 22nd of May, Tottenham beat Norwich on a final day. Tom took the golden boot, and Cooley scored the bangers. What is wrong with people going on about our players they don't like? Like Cooley's not average.
Do you know when Sammy's birthday is?
Why are you asking that, man? Is it June or something?
I don't know. I'm just asking if you know.
June, blood. I'll go with June, ain't it?
It's the same as Sol Campbell's birthday.
It's the same as Sol Campbell's birthday.
What? 18th of September, I knew it. Like,
Is that actually his birthday?
Do you know Sol Campbell's birthday?
I got a VAR check that.
What? No way you know Sol Campbell.
Lad,
Oh my
I
God,
know
it
it's
is.
this Tuesday.
It is.
Oh my God! How do you know Sol Campbell? Wait. KV, if I go through the whole Spurs squad, would you know all their birthdays?
I know. Toby is the 2nd of March, the same as Expressions and Porch.
What about Romero? What's Romero's birthday?
Oh, pissed off, man.
You don't
Anyway,
know?
I've got what? Romero?
You don't-
Nah, mate. I only know some of the old players.
Do you know Mickey van der Ven?
Mickey van der Ven, yeah, the Dutch whipping. That's his name.
Do you know his birthday?
Van der Ven.
Yeah.
October, isn't it?
No, it's April. April the 19th, mate.
I can't believe you know Sol Campbell's birthday.
Do you know Aaron Lennon's birthday?
Yes, it was just 2 days ago.
Oh, very good. Very good, Kyle.
Yeah, it was the same as my girlfriend. And so, lucky for some. And so, Aaron Lennon, he loves scoring against the Filth in that 4-4 draw. That's what I put on for Instagram. I said, favourite Aaron Lennon goal was that one when we beat Chelsea for the first time in the Prem. 2-1. And I still watch your FIFA 22 videos when you done a Robbie Keane goal. Oh, Robbie Keane! Yeah. That goal against Chelsea. Robbie Keane, unbelievable! Yeah.
Martin Tyler.
KPV, we're going to have to love you and leave you. We've still got people to get through, but thank you so much for calling in today, mate.
Let us know when the wedding is, and I would appreciate an invite. Would love that.
All right, mate. And I still can't believe you haven't commented on a picture when I saw you two at the Brentford game 3 years ago. So I expect a comment on that picture on Instagram, because I met you two for the first time after you won the Europa League with Tottenham on FIFA 22. So I wanted to know the way
Ben Simeone. Jeez.
Ben Simeone. So everyone in the chat, if you want a match between KPV and Ben on FIFA 23, give me a hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Come on, chat.
Love on. Love on.
Love on.
Come on,
See you
Munich.
there.
See you,
Come
Carl.
on.
Come on, Munich. That's it. Come on, Munich. Bobby K, member for 26 months, says, big up Ben Sim, KPV, and everyone in the chat. Big up to you, Mr. Bobby K. Next caller is...
Everyone's saying hell yeah.
Next caller is Lewis.
Hello, guys.
Hello, Lewis.
Yes,
How are you,
Lewis.
my
Good
friend?
to see you.
I'm good. Yeah, good to see you.
Sorry, I bumped into Lewis at the last home game.
Oh, is this the Lewis from the chat? Yeah, okay. I know you've called in many times, but I didn't know that was you in the chat. But yeah, sorry I couldn't meet you that day.
That's all right. Met Sim instead.
Exactly.
Yeah, you met the better half, eh?
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about today?
Not against Newcastle. I'm not talking about the Newcastle result. No way.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
We can talk about how much we think Munich are going to batter Arsenal tonight. What's your opinion?
Yeah, good. It's going to be a good game. We're definitely going to watch that. Hopefully they win it, and then I can say Arsenal get better everywhere they go.
That's it.
I think we can all want to cheer that.
It's April Arsenal time. It's the bottling season.
They're calling him April Arteta, apparently.
Yeah.
April Arteta got a case of the Arsenals.
So, Lewis, if Arsenal winning tonight meant we got Champions League, would you take an Arsenal win tonight?
I'd rather us go in the Champions League than them, to be honest with you.
So you'd rather Arsenal win?
No.
Full stop.
Oh, Bayern Munich win that, and then instead of that, Arsenal, obviously, because I hate Arsenal. Always
Lewis,
grown
we
up
got.
to hate Arsenal.
Yeah, that's you've been brought up well, my friend. But we've got a comment here from Elias Rottis saying Lewis looks like a younger version of Kulusevski. I can actually see it. Has anyone made that
The whole
comparison
family
before?
calls me Ginger.
Lewisevski.
No, not really.
Decky Lewis. We're going to start calling you Decky from now on.
No, Lewisevski. You have to
Yeah.
come on as Lewisevski from now on.
Do you know what? Next time I'll come on, I'll put that as my name next time.
Perfect. Looking forward to it, mate.
Yeah, I'll do that next time.
Who's been your player of the season this year?
Oh, it's got to be Van der Ven, isn't it?
Van
He
der
was
Ven.
so good at the Nottingham Forest game. He was
Yeah,
his
he was
defending
very good against
was
Nottingham
so-
Forest.
Yeah, it's different in the ground than it is on the TV. I tell you that. It's way different.
100%. You can really see that quality shine through. What about maybe the
Yeah.
biggest surprise? Who's been the player that surprised you the most? Maybe Van der Ven might be your answer, but maybe try find someone else.
Good question. Probably Werner, to be honest with you.
Really happy with
Werner.
Werner? I think there's someone in the background
Yeah.
that won't be very happy with your answer.
No, but the only thing is, he's not very good with his shooting. We all know that, don't we? Like,
Yeah.
he's not very good at his shooting. I mean, like, the only thing that really winds me up with Tottenham, they just pass back, like pass forward sometimes. They need to pass forward more to be able to get the opportunities. That's how we lost to Newcastle, because they gave us a passing back. There's not probably twice we passed forward, and we lost it anyway. But
Absolutely.
it's-
Give me a score prediction for the North London derby.
3-2 to Tottenham.
Come on, that's all we need. That's
It's
all we
well,
need.
mate.
3-2. I'll
It's
take
tight.
that all day long.
But Lewisevski,
Yeah, it's gonna be tight.
anything else you want to say before we let you go?
No, not really.
Well, thanks for coming on, my friend.
Pretty
Yeah.
up to you, Lewis. Appreciate you calling
Thank you
in.
very much.
Come
Yeah,
on, you
no worries.
Spurs.
I'll call you next time. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on. Thank you, Lewisevski, for calling in.
Is that?
How?
This is Danny.
All right, Danny, can you hear us? We can hear you. Is he live? Danny
Hi, guys.
Kyriakou, everyone. He's just audio
Come on,
today.
Danny.
Yeah, just audio today. Sorry, I'm still doing some bits of work, so I've got no camera today. But
Danny,
I thought I'd give you guys a call.
I want to thank you live on air for the amazing present that you got me, Ashley, and the baby. Three
of course,
shirts.
man.
One of the Space Invaders shirt, whichever you want to call it. It was a Nuno away shirt, wasn't it? One with the Champions
That's right,
League
the Champions League one.
Ajax shirt, and then one with the new shirt for the little baby. Unbelievable. Thank you so much.
No, of course, man. No problem. You don't have to say it, but no worries, Ben. Of course, man. But yeah, I thought I'd give you guys a call. It's been a while since I've actually called in.
It's been a
Spoken
minute,
to you
as they
guys
say.
Yeah, and you know you've been trying to get me to do a lot of debate shows, but I'm always busy during the day a lot of the time. So I thought I'll quickly give a quick little call today and see how you guys are. But yeah,
What do you want to talk about then? Richarlison, Brennan, Timo? Which direction
Who
you
you
want to
going
go in
after?
today?
Who you going after today?
do you know? Do you know? I think it's just a generalization, right? I think, as a whole, I think there's a lot of fans this season who have. I think the first 10 games it's kind of changed people's kind of opinion or perception of where we are as a football club, and I think too many people are overreacting for what's actually going on with the club, right? The problem is we've got a new manager now who's trying to implement the style. I'll tell you what, one of the things I actually wanted to get into is I've been hearing it on different podcasts and stuff, and it's about the tactics of how Ange plays, right? Because a lot of people debate like his in-game management, his tactics, and all this kind of stuff. And for me, what I see is him trying to do what Arteta pretty much did, right? I think Tottenham are trying to follow the Arteta blueprint in terms of Ange is like, I've heard people say, oh, he needs to change up his tactics, he needs to do this in game and all this kind of stuff, right? But the thing is, first of all, I don't think we've got the players for him to change the tactics the way he would like to change the tactics, right? So what I see him doing, right? So I've seen this from day one since Ange has been there. Ange knows exactly who he can trust and exactly who he can't trust. He knows who from the first team needs to go. He knows who from the squad needs to go. I think he knows this already, right? He's already alluded to kind of there's going to be big changes, right? So we have to wait and see if that actually does happen or not, because we all know that it's always talk from managers until it actually happens. So now I know we had a pretty good summer compared to what we've had in recent years, because we've actually followed what a manager's philosophy is and bring in maybe who he wants to bring in. Now, I don't agree with some of the players they brought in. I do think some of the players are partly partly Tottenham or club signings, and I think some of the players are who the actual manager wanted. But I definitely know for a fact that he's a long way off where he believes this squad can be. And I think as a whole, I think like I'm quite calm about the whole situation. I don't like, there's certain players
You're calm, are you?
I'm calm about the situation because I kind of see exactly how it's going to play out already, right? I already see it's going to go 2 ways.
Give us an insight into the future, Danny.
For me, it's going to go 2 ways. It's going to go the exact same way as what we've always done, right? In the last sort of, whenever we had a good manager and good periods, like we've had under Martin Jol, Harry Redknapp, Pochettino, where we've got to a level, right? We'll get the squad to a level where it's good, but we need that extra. We need that extra push. We need that next elite level player to really push us on to really challenge, right? And I don't think we're going to do that. I think in order for Tottenham to be at that level, we've got to get really lucky with the players we recruit, right? And what I mean by that is we need to get players who, like, we've got to have like Vicario type of impact signings where nobody really knows who he is, but he's brilliant at what he does, right? If that makes sense, like we've got to try and be lucky with the players we recruit. I don't think Tottenham will ever go in for a really top level player, especially under this ownership anyway, right? And go, right, we're going to go and get Jack Grealish. We're going to go and get like the best of the best kind of thing, right?
Is James Maddison of that category?
I think, look, let's be honest. James Maddison would never have signed for Spurs, and Spurs never would have signed for Tottenham if he had a 4-year contract, right? Because the price tag would have been way more than what we paid for him, right? We basically got James Maddison at steal because he had 1 year left on his contract. They'd just been relegated, and we gave him Harry Winks for 10 million, which is insane. So that's probably the best bit of business I've ever seen from Spurs. But on the flip side, like I said, if he had a 4-year contract, we'd never sign him Maddison. There's no way, because that price tag would have been 60 million plus, like easy, right?
But so, he could have gone to Newcastle, a team in the Champions League.
Yeah,
other teams could have come in for him.
Obviously, all the things around James Maddison, that he wanted to come to London, he wanted to live in London, his missus wanted to live in London, so I think his family wanted to live in London, and I think the way Spurs showed him what he could have, like he's got his own box, custom prints on the wall and stuff like this. They really show him how much they want him. There's stuff going on in the backgrounds with players who they're talking to at the moment, who I think they want to try and bring in, but again, it's the typical Daniel Levy way of trying to get the best price possible, and if he can do it, he'll do it. If not, then he's not going to push the boat out to go and get these players that they're interested in, right? And there are Premier League players who I think a lot of us like, who they are talking to, right? I'm not going to say names, but there are players. Now, for me, with the tactics, I think Ange is doing the right thing in trying to keep playing the same way, right? And trying to implement this style and philosophy that he wants to implement. Because in my opinion, like if you look at how Arteta was in his first 2 seasons, right? He was refusing to play a different way, right? He just kept playing the same way, no matter if he got beat, no matter whatever happened, right? He kept doing it. He kept doing it until he started getting the better quality players that suited the way that he wanted to play, the personalities, the characteristics he wanted, all that kind of jazz, right? I think that's when he was able to produce better football. And then it was where he needed to go to the next level, where he needed to then go and get the next level of player, which he did. And it's only this season you've seen Arsenal play a different style of football in certain matches, right? And that's Danny, 5 years under his ownership.
But Danny, wasn't Arteta criticised? I can't remember which season it was. there was 2 seasons he finished 8th, then he finished 5th. In one of those seasons, he was criticised for being quite pragmatic. Am I wrong? I can't remember.
I think it was actually when he first joined, in a weird way. I think when they won the FA Cup.
So that doesn't go against that because he did play a different brand of football.
Yeah, but but if you look at the way he was trying to play, he was still trying. He still didn't have the level of quality of players that he wanted, right? At the time, he still had to get rid of Ozils, Aubameyangs, and all these type of players that really were bad eggs, let's say, right? So he was still trying to play or trying to install the fundamentals of what he wanted to do on a football pitch, right? And I think it's only in the last 2 seasons you've really seen Arsenal go up levels compared to where they were 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Now, I think the problem we've got with Tottenham fans is that Tottenham fans, they still don't understand the way this club is run, right? They just don't. They just do not understand how Daniel Levy operates. Now, we all know, like, my opinions on Daniel Levy. I wish he was gone, but it's not going to happen, right? So, if we're going to go the way that Tottenham are going to, it's Daniel Levy slating session, but I'm saying if Tottenham are going to go the way that Daniel Levy wants to run this club, right, it has to work in 2 ways. Like I said, we have to get lucky with the players we recruit. We have to bring in. Oh, can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. You have to get in players like who, like I said, Vicario's type of signings where they're not too known. They're known, but they're not known, and we take a punt on them. Maybe like Van der Ven type of players. We need to get players of that kind of like how they're known. Like they're really well-known players, and they've got to kind of over-exceed expectation, right? Kind of like when we signed Dele Alli, kind of like when we signed Son, right? Son, even though Son took a season or so, but he's exceeded so many expectations that no Spurs fan thought he would get to the levels that he's got to, right? So I think that's the first thing, and I think the second thing is that we have to. For me, I think we just have to keep. For me, I believe in what Ange is trying to do. I think he can see exactly what needs to be done at this club, and I do think once Ange gets better level of players, he feels that he's got a squad that he can fully trust. I think that we will see him change his tactics and style a bit more when we're getting to that point where we actually need to say for example next season, right? We're in a title race. I'm not saying we're going to be in a title race, but if we are, right? I guarantee you, if he feels he's comfortable, there will be games where he'll go into where he knows he needs to get a point, right? He's not going to risk it all just to if it means winning the title, the difference between winning a title or not, right? He is going to change it. He's not stupid, right? So for me, I just think that fans need to be patient in what he's trying to achieve. And if fans are not patient with the way this board runs the club, then we might as well forget watching Spurs, because we're just going to go in the same cycle that we've done for the last 10 years, right? It's just going to be rinse and repeat. Manager, rinse and repeat. Sack the manager, get another manager in, get his players in, then we'll go to a defensive manager again, get defensive players in again, and it's just going to keep changing the philosophy and styles of what we're trying to achieve. So, yeah, I think that with what we need to do as a club is we just need to kind of just take a step back and just see how it unravels, or as fans, should I say. And I think with like the way it's going, I feel that Ange needs at least another 3 to 3 windows, I'd say, to get a squad where he feels comfortable. Because if you look at how many players we brought in the summer, right? How many actually improved the first 11, right? Ignoring Doji, I know Doji we've signed the summer before, but you could say he's signed. But let's just say purchasing players in the summer, right? If you can get 2, for me, yeah, go on. How many players would you say has actually improved? Maddison, yep.
Van der Ven,
yeah.
Who else did we bring? A Vicario.
I'd say them 3.
Was there any more? I can't remember.
There's more.
Well, I'd say them 3.
Well, Brennan,
I'd say them 3 are ones that improved the first 11. Right?
I think Brennan Johnson has as well.
I don't know if he improves the first. You could say maybe he's done all right, but he's not. I wouldn't say he's what we need if we want to compete for a title yet, right? I think Brennan Johnson's definitely shown signs of improvement, right? He definitely has shown signs of improvement, but again, as you know, my opinion, and I still don't think he's good enough to. Like what Justin was saying earlier on, I think he was bang on the money what he was saying about Johnson. I think Johnson maybe will be good for us to actually be competitive for what we want to achieve, or what, let's just say what Ange wants to achieve, because now what I'm doing is I'm setting the tone of what Ange has told the fans. He's basically telling the fans that he expects a title charge next year, right? In my opinion, it's absolute delusion. That is delusion to the max, right? Deluded if he thinks Spurs are challenging for a title next year. Never happening, right? We need at least 9 players, right, at the moment to go into this squad, and we need at least 2 minimum for the next 3 windows that can go into the first 11 and improve what we have for the next 3 windows. That's what we need. If we do that, then I believe we may have a squad good enough to challenge for a title. But until then, I don't think we're going to be good enough. Like, we have to be incredibly lucky and have no injuries whatsoever.
Yeah.
We have to have luck from other teams getting injuries, bad results from other teams, and all that kind of stuff. But that's kind of what I want to say on that side of the game and how Ange tactically does things. Now, we know his in-game management could definitely get better, but I still think, as you've seen in the last few weeks, he still doesn't know what his best midfield is, right? Or his best front three. And until he feels comfortable in those departments, we're never going to be a team good enough for what, in his image of what he wants to achieve at Spurs. Because he's obviously told the fans what he wants to achieve, right? He's basically telling us. It's not us. It's not what we want. It's what he's saying, right? So we're going off that. So either the club have got plans in the summer to really reinvigorate the squad in ways that we haven't seen before, or it's just he just believes that the players that if they can get, we get them, then maybe they'll do what he thinks they can do. But again, it's all under what he believes. So, and what the board can give him to achieve that. So we have to wait and see what happens. And I think we just need to give it time, man, because you know what my feelings are, right? I still don't agree with, for example, Timo Werner, right? How I see Timo Werner, I think he's an absolutely average player, right? I think he's no good for Spurs. I don't think he's what we need, right? But at the time, he's a gap filler, right? I see it like this. Was he better than Brian Hill? Yes, right? Definitely better than Brian. Brian Hill is awful. He is absolutely awful player. I think he doesn't contribute in any way possible. He might do a nice little dribble in one match out of 10, and that's about it, right? Or he works hard. But at least Werner's done some kind of contribution, right? But for me, I would be happy to sign Werner if we are going to sign 2 elite wingers, like what Justin was saying. Yeah. I don't mind Werner as a, let's just call it in air quotes, backup player, right? If he's a backup player, I don't mind Werner, as long as it doesn't disrupt what we actually need to do, which is to go and get 2 quality wingers, or at least 1 and a forward. Because in my eyes, I think Richarlison's gone in the summer.
Do you think he's gone?
I do think Richarlison's gone. I think so. I think there's a big market for him in Saudi Arabia, and I do think a club.
Would he go though?
I think so. They'll offer him stupid money. They'll post him as Brazil's poster boy, right? And imagine the marketing they could do with Brazil's number 9 there, right? The thing is that's how they'll market.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think that's how they will market Richarlison. But if I don't think he will go unless a Saudi Arabia club comes in for him, because I do not think anyone will pay the money that is required, or what Tottenham would look for to recoup for Richarlison, right? And also, like, unless he's got 1 year left on his contract, where you might get him for 20 million or something like that, then Tottenham are not going to cut their losses in that way. They've shown that with Ndombele, right? We've dragged him on. No, we can't even pay for half his wages for someone to get him out of the club on a free transfer, let alone sell him for a fee. So I think it'll be similar for Richarlison, but I've just got a feeling that there's going to be a club in the summer that's going to come in for him, and I think they know already they're targeting the striker for the replacement for Richarlison. Because in my opinion, as I've told, I know some other things as well, but I do feel that he is going to go. And honestly, I've said this from day one.
Danny Kirimano.
I've said this from day one. Boys, I've literally said this from day one, yeah? As soon as Ange saw the first game of Richarlison, he knew he is not the player for him. I could see it. I could see the way he plays. I could see in Richarlison's face, the way he was playing, right? You just have to look at his emotion. I know he's been through some stuff this season. He's had the injury, the operation, all that kind of stuff. He's had the mental side of things, and I respect him coming out for what he's doing and trying to feel better about himself and kind of get his life back on track, which is brilliant to see, right? But I do think in terms of, if you look at take that side away from it and look at his footballing aspect and what he offers to Tottenham in an Ange system, he is not that player, right? Ange wants, I tell you what, Ange wants a type of Ollie Watkins type of player. He wants that kind of player who can hold the ball up big, quick, or someone like an Ivan Toney, or someone like maybe you could say a Vlahovic. I'm not saying they're going to go for him, but I'm saying maybe someone like that is a different type of number 9. But I do think he wants that kind of really technically gifted player who can hold the ball up, who's kind of quick, and who can link play really well and can kind of drop deep. And I think someone, for me, I'd go and sign Ollie Watkins. That's who I'd sign, but it's never going to happen. But yeah, I think I'm interested to see what they do in the summer, because I think, and for me as well, guys, I honestly think over the next 3 windows, I'm literally giving it 3 windows, and that will tell me exactly what this board's ambition is for Ange Postecoglou, right? 3 windows is, and I think, and you know how I feel about the boards, right? I hate them, but I'm still going to give it 3 windows because I believe in Ange, right? So if I see that if I see us signing Timo Werners, and that's a level of players we're going to sign, loads of different Timo Werner type of levels, right? Quantity rather than quality, then for me, I don't care who comes into the club after Ange leaves this club. I don't care whatever happens, because it's never going to change. For me, Ange is the last saloon. He is the last chance for me to show me that this board actually wants to do something for a manager or for the fans, to try and show us that they want to win something, even though I believe they don't.
You know, the problem with that, Danny, is that we said that for the past 3 managers. Maybe Nuno aside.
I know.
We said that for Mourinho. We said that for Conte. Now we're saying that for Ange. And we'll probably say that for the next manager that comes in as well.
You know what, Ben? You're right. But the only thing that I do see like similarities in terms of maybe how the board and how the new management, like the new kind of scouting infrastructure and Lange and Ange Postecoglou, how they kind of have similar views on what they want. And I think that probably helps a lot in terms of in able to agree easily in what they want to do. And I think I see that more with him than I have seen in the last few managers. And I think Daniel Levy knows he made the biggest mistake sacking Poch when he should have backed him, right? Remember in the Tottenham documentary when he said it was the hardest decision I've ever had to make, and I'll only know later on basically if it was a good one or not. And I think he looks back at that decision and he probably realizes that was the worst decision he's ever made as a Spurs
yeah, 100%,
chairman, right?
100%.
And I think now he might have realized it to an extent, but it depends on how Daniel Levy's relationship is with Ange and how if they can keep agreeing on what they both want. Because like I said, if it gets to that point where Ange is like, right, we need to go and get that X kind of X factor type of player, right? Is Daniel Levy going to push the boat out? That's where the collision's going to happen, and I think that is what's going to happen in the future with Spurs and Ange. But we have to wait and see. And I'm giving it 3 transfer windows with Ange to see how the board responds.
I think it's hard to disagree with anything you've said, to be honest. I think we definitely need patience. The manager definitely needs time. And look, I think maybe for me, we're a bit further along than maybe what you're suggesting. I don't think it'll maybe take 9 or 10 players to get this team to where it needs to be. I think next season will be a bit too soon in terms of going and properly challenging for that title. But I do think with 4 or 5 signings of the same caliber that we did last summer, that we can get a lot closer than we did this year. So maybe it'll be the year after where we actually put a realistic challenge together.
I think so as well. But do you know why I said 9 players, Ben? Right? I'm talking about the squad, not just the first 11.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah.
But I say that, right, because if Spurs want to compete on 4 fronts, if they're in a European competition, right, they need a lot higher level of players than what we have in the squad right now. And in that squad right now, there is at least 6 players who need to go, right, minimum, right. So then, if you take out 6, you're gonna have to replace them with 6, right?
Agreed.
So then you're talking about another couple of players on top of that. So I think I think 9 is an actual, for me, it's a fair number of what we need to actually have a full, say, 18 to 22 players that are good enough to compete on all 4 fronts. That's why I say 9 players.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
And because you got to take into account, right? If we're in 4 competitions and you want to compete in all of them, you can't go and play like your Skips and your Emerson Royales in a cup competition like Ange did against Fulham at Craven Cottage, and we lost 1-0, right? We lost the game. Oh, we lost the game. Was it 1-0 or penalties? I can't remember now. But when we lost the game in the League Cup, wasn't it?
Yeah,
the
penalties.
League Cup.
Penalties.
Yeah. So we lost on penalties, and if you play your first team in that game, I reckon we beat Fulham on the day, right? And in that moment, we were playing really well. It was our first loss, wasn't it, of the season? I think.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's why I think that we need that kind of. We do need at least 9 players, but we have to wait and see. And for me, I don't care where we finish this season. I honestly don't care. I think everyone. I know people's expectations change based on the first 10 games, but the problem is people still forget we had a mass injury crisis for a couple of months, before the run up to January, right? And we were still able to kind of stay in and around that top 4, even with the injuries that we had, and the fact that we haven't had Solomon for a whole season. We basically lost a winger. We lost Perisic, who for me I think was the best left winger at the club. I think in an Ange system he was perfect, and I think he would have been. I think it was so bad that we lost him, because I think he would have been very instrumental for us this season in what we wanted to achieve. And it was a shame, because that's why we had to go and get Timo Werner, because Brian Hill was just not up to the levels of what we needed, and he
Danny,
was also injured as well.
How many points do you reckon we lost because of the injury crisis?
I think at least 7 points. I think 7 or 8 points. I think.
So I mean,
maybe
if
you could say
that's
push it to 10.
Okay, so let's say it's 7 to 10, somewhere around that. We're only 11 points behind Arsenal, I think it is at this stage. So I mean,
I know
we can't be that far behind.
You are right. You're right in that respect, and maybe that's what Ange is seeing, Ben. Maybe that's why he's so confident, and why he's thinking that we can, if he gets the players that let's just say they've talked about, and they go and get the players that they've all agreed to, right? And go and bring them all in. He might think, right, I think this team is more capable of challenging. But then again, is he not? Is he taking out of his mind the fact that we're going to be in Europe, the fact that we're going to have FA Cup? Is he taking that into account? Because you cannot play your best 11 in every single competition.
True.
Like, it just doesn't work. You're going to get more injuries. You're going to have even bigger problems. So we have to, I do think without the injuries this season, I think we would have been a lot closer to where Arsenal were. I'm not saying we'll be behind them, but I think we'll be closer to them in points difference. I think we'll be maybe 5 or 6 points off them. And
if your 10 points is correct, we'd only be 1 point behind them.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. And that's me saying it, but I'm just trying to be as realistic as possible, because I think there's a lot of expectations on where we are as a club, and I think people just need to tone that down a bit, especially with the level of players. We still got a lot of average players in the squad. There's still a lot of them.
Well, there you have it, guys. A call for calm from Danny Kiriakou. I never thought I'd hear the day. But Danny, thank you so much for coming on today. Really good call.
Big up, guys. Take it easy,
Nice
boys.
one,
I'll see
Danny.
you soon. I might be at the
mate.
North London derby. It all depends. It all depends on Arsenal getting kicked out of the Champions League tonight.
So even more reason to support Bayern tonight.
Yeah, so even more reason. So I'm going to be watching, and I hope they do, because if not, then I probably won't make it, and I'll have to sell my ticket. So
up the Bayern.
We're going to need you,
come on,
Danny. We're going to need you for the derby. Our result depends on it. So get your butt here, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Big up, guys. I hope to see you there.
Yeah, 100%. See you later.
See you later, boys.
Is that? That is that. No more callers. We have got through everyone. So a nice long 3-hour call-in show for you guys there. I really enjoyed that. A lot of the OGs coming out of the woodwork and calling into the channel. It was that call-in was a bit of a throwback, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Enjoyed that a lot. Have a lot of people who felt like I haven't spoken to in a long time. So big up to everyone calling in. Big up to all your opinions. Enjoyed that a lot.
And we're going to finish off now on a Tottenham update. So let's get straight into that. And first up, we're going to be talking about Bryan Gil. 1908 Feyenoord publications say that Feyenoord have made an official bid for Bryan Gil, and talks are underway with Tottenham over a permanent transfer for the winger. The Football Insider says that Bryan Gil is unhappy with the situation at Tottenham and is keen to leave the club for regular playing time elsewhere. Spurs will listen to offers for the winger in the upcoming transfer window. So, seems like things are moving on the Bryan Gil front.
No surprises. We know that he's surplus to requirements here. He's obviously frustrated because he's not even getting any game time. Even when we had injuries, he wasn't getting any game time. We've dropped our price significantly. I think there is probably a good deal to be had for a team looking to sign him, because if you can get him for 6 million, especially for a team like Feyenoord, I think he could smash out in the Dutch league. So I think it's a good deal for all parties. We need to move on from him. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked out. So I'm not surprised though at the price we're putting him at. There is some interest.
Bit of a sweetener in a deal for Santiago Jimenez.
I would take that.
Why not?
Why not? Why not?
Let's move on and talk about Giovanni Lo Celso. Spanish publication called Fichajes say Atletico Madrid will submit a bid to Tottenham in the region of 20 million euros to sign Giovanni Lo Celso this summer. Diego Simeone is a long-term fan and believes he can land the midfielder this summer as his Spurs contract expires in 2025. We have heard these links, haven't we, crop up over the last couple of years. It's one that makes sense in terms of they really want him. And is he going to get another contract here? I highly doubt it. So this summer is the summer.
Yeah, I think so. And they would you mention 20 million euros? That is probably a decent fee I think it's a good fee for a good player. And obviously he's a player who struggled to stay fit. So you could argue, would they be willing to part with that kind of money for a player who, depending on how many games they're going to get out of him? Obviously Simeone, will, being an Argentinian player himself, will know that kind of market, and he'll know he'll be obviously following him with the national team and stuff like that. So I do think he would suit Atletico Madrid. I do wonder if they sign him, if he would be like a more of like how he played for Villarreal, like on the wing a bit rather than the centre, because they do prefer real tough battlers to play in centre midfield. So I wonder if a double deal for Højbjerg could be, and Lo Celso could be in the offing. I wouldn't mind that.
Ship them all out. Yeah, I think if you were to sell Højbjerg and Lo Celso, let's say Lo Celso is 20 million, do you think you're getting the same price for Højbjerg?
Considering he's got 1 year left, probably similar price.
So 40 million in the kitty for two players that are not really, we know that are not going to be around for next season. Not too bad.
It's not too bad. I wouldn't say it's like amazing, but it's decent.
Yeah. Next up, let's talk about Timo Werner. HITC saying Tottenham are hoping to extend the loan of RB Leipzig winger Timo Werner rather than triggering the option to buy clause in the existing deal. First of all, do you see RB Leipzig accepting that? And do you think it's the right move to do?
Yes, I do see RB Leipzig accepting it 100% because they're not using him. They were happy for us to take him on loan into January. So if you're happy for us to take him on loan mid-season, you're probably going to be happy for us to continue that loan deal. Although,
do you not think they will like shop him out a bit and try and get a permanent?
Yeah, I guess
deal
depending
somewhere?
on how much interest there is in him. If it's similar level to January, then I would expect that they'll probably be happy because they'll probably know that if he continues to impress, then that option to take him would be there. So they'll know they'll be getting some money for him.
Do you not think like that what he's shown in the Spurs shirt so far? Yeah, it's not been world class level, but it's been a decent level, and he's probably attracted a bit of interest.
Yeah, but he might want to stay here. So if he's got his heart set on staying at Spurs, and we're not 100% convinced to sign him, I think I can understand why Spurs maybe another loan deal, don't want to commit to giving him a 3-year deal on fairly decent wages as well, not whilst we're not 100% sure yet on him. So I can understand Tottenham wanting to extend his loan. I do think Leipzig would accept it, to be honest. I don't think they're that interested in him. I think they're ready to take a big loss on him, to be honest.
Yeah, look, I understand that, and I think all what you're saying is true, but I just feel like if he is attracting interest and clubs are willing to part with money for a permanent transfer, they'll probably try and push him in that direction as opposed to maybe accepting another loan deal from Tottenham.
Depends what kind of clubs, and depends on Werner. I think Werner seems happy at Spurs. He seems to want to stay. So I think in Werner's mind, I think if it's an option of staying at Tottenham on loan, I think depending on what clubs come in for him, but I think that would be a very attractive option for him.
And if it is Werner staying on loan, that gives us more kind of money to play around with to sign a proper out-and-out winger to have as competition with him.
Yeah, Obviously, we're only going to be paying 15 million anyway to sign him permanently, so it's not massive. But I guess you do save a decent amount on the transfer fee, but we might decide to sign him after that as well. Depending on how he impresses.
Another winger that Spurs are linked with is Anthony Martial. I mean, have we gone back in time? I don't know what's going on over here, but Tuto Sport is saying that Tottenham are a potential destination for Martial this summer. The forward is not willing to sign a new contract with Man United. Juventus and Spurs are both expected to compete for the free agent. Speaking Levy's language there.
Yeah, obviously. I don't think he's a winger. I think he's definitely a striker in this stage of his career. That's where I think he's played most of his appearances for Man United.
I don't think he's anything in the Spurs team.
No, if you're going to be frustrated with Son in the number 9, I don't see how Martial solves that problem for sure. No. I don't think he's got a good attitude. I don't think he's in good form. I do think, obviously, once upon a time there was a good player there who had a lot of good attributes, but he's been off form now for so long. I can't remember the last time he had a good season was probably 5 years ago. To be honest, he probably hasn't had a good season there. I think under Oli, he got 17 goals in a season, which was pretty good. He's been a bit of a disaster. Well, not I'll say a bit. He's been a disaster since signing for Man United for 50 million.
50 million down the drain.
It really was. The Song got it right the first time. He hasn't scored again. That's the reality. He's had a poor season this season. He seems to have lost motivation to really become the best player he can be. Maybe you could say he's been ruined by years of mismanagement at Man United, and that might be the case, but I don't think he's ever going to fulfill his potential. He's probably coming up on 30 now, isn't he? So
I think it's about 28.
28. No, I don't think it's worth
I agree.
our time.
I agree. We need to stay away from these kind of deals 100%. We need to be getting players that are motivated, fit the system, and that are going to work, and that we can see something to go on. With Martial, like you said, the last thing we could see to go on was years ago. So maybe Timo Werner, you would have said maybe the same, but I don't think it's the same level.
I don't think Martial's a winger. He's a striker. And our strikers need to score. I don't see him scoring goals. So, look, Werner, we've said you're a winger, you just create chances, and that's what he's doing. Martial would never be able to do that role. And if you bring him in because we think he can score us goals, he's basically he'll be a far, far, far less effective version of Son, essentially, in that position. That's how I mean,
Richarlison's better than Martial in that position.
Yeah, for sure. So what would he bring? Like, if we're looking for a striker who gives us something different, does he do that even if he's playing well? Does he do that? No. So
all right, we're going to finish off. Yesterday we brought you the leaked home shirt for next season. Now we've got the leaked away and third shirt for next season. The away one is the blue, or like light blue, and the third one is the green one. I guess we'll look at the away one first. If you zoom in on it a little bit, look at that. I actually really like this. The colours on it I really like. It's pretty much the same as the home shirt, just a bit of a blue tint to it, basically.
Yeah, I like the shirt, but I have a bit of PTSD with light blue. I always feel like we play bad when we play in light blue. I don't know why it is. Maybe it's because we play hard away games in that kit. But I always feel like we just don't turn up whenever we play in light blue. So I want a darker blue.
Yeah. And the third shirt is green with a lot of different things. I mean, an upside down Nike tick. The old Spurs badge from like the 90s in like a more modernised version. I like that. I mean, I don't know about the Nike tick upside down. I like that kit. I do like it, but it's just strange that the three kits that we have are all like kind of light. There's no kind of dark kit.
Yeah, someone sent a tweet saying there is a dark kit, so I don't know where they got that from. But if we're going on this, then it does seem odd because what if you're playing against a light team who are away from home? So what kit are we going to wear? It's very, very strange. Is there going to be kit clashes? I thought there was a bit of a clash when we played Newcastle, to be honest. I didn't think that was quite...
there was.
Yeah, I don't think that was quite apparent. Easy to see, I would say. So, I don't know. I hope there is a dark kit somewhere in there.
The green kits... we had a green kit under Jose, didn't we? Which I really liked. With a green kit, obviously...
That was dark green.
Yeah, dark green. And obviously a dark green one in the Champions League. I think this is the lightest green shirt that we've had. I really like it.
Lime
I like
green,
the green.
do you call it?
Lime green, yeah.
Lime green. It's nice. I got no problem with it, but I would like a dark shirt somewhere.
Let us know your thoughts of the new kits in the comment section below. But that is your Tottenham update for today. And that is the end. Oh my God, we've been going for 3.25 hours, guys.
Holy moly.
But yeah, thank you everyone for joining today. That is it from us. We'll see you all soon. Everyone, comment your love for Bayern Munich in the comment section. Spur them on to victory with Harry Kane and Eric Dyer. But let us know your thoughts of everything involved in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,
come on, you Spurs.